And we are live. Wow. What a game. Man, I'm going to let a couple of you filter in first, but just quickly, I do have my man Alan about to join me on the stage to go through one of the best wins I think we've had in a long time as Pistons fans, just with where we are at this point of the season. I am hyped. I'm so excited to talk about the game. But just before I do, like I said, I've got Alan here who's joining me, my fellow Aussie companion. But if you want to come up and talk with me about this incredible, exciting win, please DM me now or send me, DM me now on Twitter or Instagram and I'll try to get you up. I've got Alan coming up today and then I've got, sorry, I can't even talk. Then I've got Dave Dalton joining us probably a bit later in the show. So please DM me now. But yeah, I'm going to bring up Alan and how you feeling, man?
How good was that? How good?
Man, that was one of the funnest games, and like I feel like
Oh
my
man.
adrenaline was so high, bro. Like I missed. I was looking at the screen, but I'm just like, what is going on? So I apologize if my analysis is poor this game, but I'm gonna have to watch it back. But it's all about the emotions. Run us through how you feeling, man.
Bro, I was the same. I had to leave the room like intermittently. I couldn't. I could like. It was like the suspense was killing me at some parts, especially in that third quarter. Man, I was in and out of my room. Like I couldn't watch it.
Man, yeah, I know what you mean. I was like, my version of that's like constantly just like looking away. Like sometimes I just like eat really fast. Like I just had this bag of chips. I'm just like eating so quick because I'm so anxious and nervous. Like, man, but I feel you. Like that was so fun. I think where I want to go first, before we even get into the game, vibes. They're 3-5 now. Like up until this point, we've spoken about it, and plenty of people I've had on. We've spoken about how like this team's beat the teams they should have beaten, like lost to the teams they should have lost to. Tonight, I feel like not many picked them to win. So they're 3-5. This is the biggest win of the season. Like, how are you feeling about the team in general?
Look, I think I was skeptical that we were going to win because I'm a and I messaged you before because I'm always worried about these refs and LeBron, bro. I swear they've got a little connection going on, but yeah, even through some of that bad reffing that we got in the last quarter, they couldn't do nothing about it. And that was so vital about us getting that lead earlier on because
Yeah.
even the refs can't get them back into a game or save them from something like that. When we're 20 points ahead, we can give up that 10 points at the end because we're still 10 ahead at the end of the day. And oh man, I was so impressed with so many players. And
Yeah.
man, you got to be happy with Stu because he defensively held the
Let's
bum
go.
down so hard today, man.
Le
Like he
Bum.
blocked him two or three times. He blocked him two or three times. I
Man,
swear.
uh, man, I was like you said, man. Like, of course, yeah, I love those blocks. Like that one they called a foul. Thank
Oh,
God they overturned that because that was not a foul. I'm gonna have
were
that
you?
all over socials for the next few days. Don't you worry. But man, yeah, like you said though, so many good players in this game. So many like key moments. Like everyone chipped in. Like Ron Holland. Like we'll get into it in a moment.
Oh,
But
beautiful.
bro, yeah, so good. I guess where do you want to start? Who was your kind of player of the match or
Look,
players?
and I'm gonna say because this is just because I give him so much shit. I'm gonna say Stu, man, because
Yeah,
like he just did like what he needed to do. Even offensively, he was cleaning up the boards offensively. He was grabbing the ball, like
yeah.
everything that I want to see from Stu, he did tonight. Even the free throws, like he was hitting all of them, I swear. And
I
just
agree
getting
with
to
you
the
on the
hoop.
free throws, man. Those two he hit were really key because Cade missed the
Key.
tech, and
Yes.
then I think the Pistons were up 7 at that point. So for Stu
Yeah.
to knock down both of those, because there's pressure, like there's still like 6 minutes to play. I love that you bring that up because they were key.
So it's got to be Stu for me, and it's because I'm against him a lot of the time, and you cannot falter him in that game, and yeah, like just defensively, like, and we all know he's got a great motor, and he can have these games, but today, man, I couldn't see him do anything wrong on that defensive end, that's for sure, and the rebounding, I couldn't. There was nothing.
Well, if that's your player of the game, I'm absolutely stoked. I love it.
Sure,
I
sure,
love the
sure,
I love just the honesty as well that you can say I'm normally against him, but to pick him as a player of the game, I love that. And as you said
100%.
though, like it's kind of hard to give a player of the game. Like I think let's talk about the backcourt. I thought Jaden Ivey, whilst he had some mistakes, particularly in that third quarter, like honestly, his penetration into the paint, some of the shots
Beautiful.
he iced it with that knock, like three at the
That for
top of the arc. Like man, if that guy isn't taking a leap right in front of us, I don't know how you define it. Like from where he was to what he's doing now, even if he has his moments where you're like, oh, you're forcing it a bit, like I love him. Like I love his game. Tonight, I thought it was key to just go at AD, but when AD's not
Yes,
in, win those minutes because he is literally the whole Lakers team. Like it is
100%.
crazy how good he is, and the
Yeah,
Pistons are petrified of him in the first 5 minutes. But
yeah,
man, like the way Ivy attacked, I just loved his game. Like I don't think
yeah.
26 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists even does it justice. Like
No, no,
he was awesome.
everywhere. He was everywhere. And even look, there was a couple of things, and he does make those mistakes because he's at such a fast pace. We know that that's bound to happen regardless of whatever game. But I mean, even like defensively, he was challenging every play he could. Yeah, he was out of position. He got a couple of fouls, but his the effort was there. And how can you discount that when the effort's there? And just him getting to the hole. Oh man, and it's such a good. Do you know what I was thinking today? It's such a good lead for Ron Holland to watch, and seeing
Yeah,
Jaden Ivey's because they have similar
great
games,
call.
but seeing Jaden Ivey's progression, that's going to make Ron Holland so hungry, and I think it's gonna skyrocket his progression by having him on the team. And I mean that three ball for Ivy has just become such a refined tool of his, which I was skeptical at the end of the season. Are we going to see that three ball get a little bit better? We got Fred Vincent, so maybe, but it
Yeah,
is like Fred Vincent is doing work with that man. Like it
I
is
know.
working, you
And
know?
you've brought up a heap of good points there, and I'll just touch on the jump shot first. Like, I give credit to Fred Vincent, but I think Jaden Ivey works his absolute tail off, and like it was bound to happen. But to see it mixed in Fred Vincent now, and even when he misses a few, I'm starting to get to that point where I just trust the jumper completely. And we're only 7 games in, but I just trust like the fact when he took that three to ice it, and I was like, he can make this. Like this is just the internal of my my mind. I just find that huge, like that you feel the
Right.
confidence. But I love what you said as well about Ron Holland learning from Ivy because when Ivy came into the NBA, and his handle wasn't great, and like it wasn't bad, but for a guard, it wasn't the best. And Ron Holland's one of his big issues or areas for improvement is the handle. And as well, like you said, they both have that burst and athleticism. So to watch Jaden learn to harness his, and I think someone Pistons next made a great point in here. Ivy understands how to pace himself, and he's found so much success. Like
Good call.
perfectly
Good call.
summarized, and I think that's what you were getting at as well, man. Like, just watching him be able to change pace now, like, he still gets caught sometimes, but, like, he's what, in year 3, just the start of year 3, like, it's so exciting. I love it.
We got to extend that guy, man. Like it's still in my eyes. If you got to choose from him and Duran, it's Ivy all day. I mean, the way he is evolving
Yeah,
is if we were to give him away or get rid of him, we'd be making a serious mistake, a premature
yeah,
serious mistake on that one. Um, but
absolutely.
I've seen a lot in the comments. THJ, and I do want to mention him, man.
Yes.
He's captured my heart. I was really scared of that preseason. I know we spoke about it, and he's had good games, but every vital moment we needed him to hit the shot, he hit the shot. You know,
Yeah,
every moment it was we required it in that momentum to keep it going and to keep that 10 point or 20 point lead. He was there and he kept us in that lead for such a long time. I think I don't know if he came out a lot of the third quarter, and that's where I actually saw that we weren't getting as many shots.
yeah.
You know,
They
there was a
went with
we went with a bit of a defensive lineup, didn't we?
Yeah,
In
but
that
it
third.
was strange because I was thinking that as well. Like, so yeah, you were right. Like THJ was cooking, particularly in the first half, and then they went with Beasley for a while there, which I thought was
Mm,
I didn't really understand why. That was probably one of the questionable things. Like he just didn't have it tonight, and but Tim Hardaway Jr. still played 32 minutes, so maybe he just needed a rest. He must have played a heap of minutes because yeah, just quickly, he finished with 19 points, 4 of 8 from deep, 60% from
Beautiful.
the field. Like, yeah. So I actually thought that's where you're going to go with your player of the game, but you
It,
surprised
it
me
was
even more with you.
it was him or Stu. It was him or Stu. But I thought to myself, Stu deserves it, man, because like
Yeah,
if it's going to be someone, I want to go for someone like that I wouldn't normally give,
yeah,
like justice to.
yeah.
But for sure,
I love it.
THA's second, right behind Stu, man. Like that
Yeah.
offense is, and not only that, I don't want to say just his offense. His defense is sneaky good.
Hey,
Like he does he
yeah,
is serviceable. He does his job. Like
yeah,
he does not make it easy for any player to score.
yeah.
Yeah, he might not get the steals, but he shuts them down. You know,
Yeah, no. No, for sure.
so
He's been huge. He's been I think like he's actually shooting like 50% from 3 on the season. So I
crazy.
thought I'm just gonna go through a couple of comments here because there's a lot of hyped up fans. But Brian here, what's good, Jack? 2 days in a row, we're getting the Pistons one video. I love it, bro. I'll have that out in the morning. More to come. Thank you, Brian, for the support, my guy. Another one here. Oh no, I already brought this one up. Ivy and Cade were MVPs, but Stu, Ron, and THA all showed up and did great in their respective roles. Absolutely love it. Yeah, I think this is backing up what you just said. THJ was the worst in preseason and definitely the best so far in regular season. Tobias was good in the preseason and struggling so far. Love it. My guy Jack. I know, bro. We've been DMing. I got to get you up here at one point, but how good, my guy. Um, oh man, I'm so hyped. I want to talk about.
Same,
I don't
bro,
want to leave. I'm going to get to Cade, but I want to talk about Ron Holland because, like, I thought easily his best game in a Pistons uniform,
for
and
sure.
like what? I'll just quickly tonight. He had 12 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 0 turnovers. 0 of 5 from 3. So he didn't actually miss anything but threes. And like, what a game from him to keep
Ah,
missing those threes and then just still be so confident. Like, wow.
we were up 20. Why not? Why not? That's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Why not take those shots when you're up 20? And if I'm
Yeah.
JB, I'm saying, Ron, take them because
Yeah.
these are reps, man. And these are in-game reps. We're up. Take those shots. And they weren't terrible shots, you know. They just most of them rattled in and out. So, you
Yeah.
know,
Well, and
I
like you
like
said, he
he'll come.
sorry to cut you off, but he had a couple of looks in the fourth and he turned them down and he drove at
He
AD
did.
and got to the free throw line. Yeah, so you're so right there. Like when you're up by 15, 20, let them fly, but when it counted and they really needed the good offensive possession, he didn't. So I love that call.
And that's high IQ from a rookie, man, and that's what you love to see. Like he was
Yeah.
smart enough to know that I can't risk these decisions right now. I'm going to go where I'm comfortable. I'm going to try and make it count, and he did. I'm pretty sure he hit all his free throws as well.
Yep, 4 of
Pretty sure
4 on the
4 or
money.
4. There you go.
So, like, I just think complete game. I love some of the stuff he did defensively and
Oh yeah,
some of the finishes. Like, not even just in this game. Like in all of his games that he's scored, which I think he has in all. I feel like he just has at least one really impressive drive every game, like a Euro step. Like he had multiple tonight, but I've just been like
yeah.
pretty impressed with the control he's shown at times for uh like, because I think the thing with Ron, like, I love his confidence and it gets him into some trouble sometimes, but his confidence doesn't lower. And I think that's so important for a guy like him or any NBA player.
I mean, that's what's going to quicken your progression in the league is confidence. And I think if he just doesn't, a problem with us last season is we got so down on ourselves. Whether we missed a shot, we got a call against us. Everyone's morale would be at the floor. But I think Ron is also an integral part of our morale. I know Beasley is for sure, and
Yeah.
those vets that we brought in are definitely getting everyone stimulated. But Ron, for a rookie and the energy he's bringing to the team, you can tell it's affecting everyone, especially from do you remember when we saw earlier in the preseason when he came out defensively, him and Stu came in. I can't remember which game it
Yeah.
was, and then everyone got up. Like he's doing that all the time.
Yeah.
Like he's always bringing the energy up, man. And unfortunately, Tech had a terrible game, and I feel
Yeah.
like he had a bit of I don't know if what it was, if it was playing the Lakers, but he looked like he was a bit anxious.
Yeah.
Like there was something going on there. But when he came out and they put Ron Holland in, energy back up, we just got straight back to it after
No,
that little bit of a slump.
absolutely. And like you call on the Tech thing because yeah, his confidence looks really low. I think because like I think tonight he's not even probably shooting. I think he's shooting below like 30% from 3 now. So like I still think he's a really good role player. I think
For
it's
sure.
for the moment I'm putting it down to his foot injury, and just kind of a new role. But yeah, I think it's a good call. He looked anxious and a bit lost and just overwhelmed. So, but let's talk about Kate Cunningham. I think this 17 points, 11 boards, 11 assists, plus 14. I thought
Bro,
like the way he
bro.
closed, like I don't even care about the stats. They just sound good in this game in particular. Like like whenever he had the ball, I was as calm as I could be. And like he closed, I feel like
Oh,
tonight.
so well he closed.
Yeah.
And that's what I was worried about. Is he going to be gassed? He wasn't gassed because other people were taking the workload on earlier in the game. So he looked fresh, man. And like,
Yeah.
oh, dude, when he had the ball in his hands, like you said, I had no anxiety because he was finding people. He was getting to the basket at will against AD. I know AD had the foot issue, but he was taking full advantage of it. Like
Yeah.
he was driving right in front of AD and making those, layups literally
Yeah.
right there at the basket. So,
Yeah.
man, he just played so good. He facilitated so well tonight.
Yeah. And
And
only the three
defensively, he was
turnovers.
amazing. Three
Great
turnovers,
call.
which is great.
I love the defense call. Like he had a couple of stops on LeBron who was trying to back him down, but more than just those sort of isolation possessions, I thought he was excellent energy activity. Like he bought into like, yeah, I'm gonna play my part defensively and like push this team to win. Like I loved his game. And just to see him like because I think he only had like 8 or 9 points or 5 at the half, and then just to see him get to 17, missed a few free throws, which is weird for him, but ultimately it doesn't matter. Um, yeah, that's what you want from a guy like Cade. Like, I obviously like it's nice when he scores 28, 30 plus, but when he's facilitating like that and when the other players come along with him, I truly think like Cade is able to play more defense. And then in turn, like when the rest of his players are hitting shots, it's just better for the team. Like with Cade's stats as whatever they're going to be at his peak, like he might be a 28 point per game scorer, but I almost think he's better at like 23 high assists and then locking in defensively if
Agreed.
that's what he wants to do. Yeah. But
Agreed.
I think the
Because
issue's
it
been
doesn't affect
he
his
hasn't
motor.
had that running mate so far, but now that Ivy's stepping
Yes.
up to Tobias. So yeah, sorry, you go.
No, 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 no. Sorry, and sorry for cutting you off. I was just saying that it's when he isn't doing it all, the motor lasts. Like he has that fourth
Yeah,
quarter, and by seeing what we've seen the last two games, it's clear that what we need him to do. And the stat line that he got tonight, I'd be happy for the next his whole career in Detroit if we see those stats and him not score as much. I don't care if he scores 30. Man, like I love it when he gets everyone else involved. And the way he was facilitating and finding the open man. Look, there was a couple times that Tobias was missing, like in that corner, those wide open 3 pointers. But I will say, like, I know that we can say he's struggling, but he did well in the first half. Like
yeah,
he was part of the reason we were up so early.
yeah,
Like Tobias was pretty much that reason why we're up. So look, we all know that Tobias falls off. So if he can do the damage early, get us to where we need to be. And look, I want Bobby Clinton back because I really want to see what he can do to back him up, man.
yeah.
And we, of
I,
course, do you watch NBL? Do you watch NBL much?
yeah, dude, I worked at the NBL before I did this.
Oh, there you go. There you go. With
So I
with
worked.
with
No,
Melbourne United.
I worked for the league as I was social media coordinator for like a year and a
Oh
half.
wow,
Literally before, like
amazing.
I finished up like 3 weeks ago. So
Um,
I watched and did so many of Bobby's games. So yeah, man, I
wow.
love Bobby. That was really
I
cool
didn't
that
know that
Pistons
about you.
drafted.
That's
Well,
great
I spent
experience,
a
bro.
bunch.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm still doing stuff with the NBL now, but like, yeah. No, Bobby surprised just on that. Like, his play at the summer league, I did not know he could pass like that, and I watched so much Bobby Clintman when he was playing in the NBL. Like I loved his jumper, even if the percentages weren't great in the NBL, like a bit inconsistent. But I did not know he could pass like that, so I'm so excited to see him at an NBA
Same.
level. Um, I don't know what's going on
What do
with
we
that calf, but
what
yeah,
do we know? What do we know about
uh,
that?
it just honestly like it keeps saying every injury report calf contusion. Is that how you say it? I
Yeah.
think that
What
just
is that?
means I think can one of our US friends here tell us what a contusion is? Because I used to think it was like a very mild strain or something,
That's what
like
I'm thinking.
very,
That's
very
what I'm thinking.
mild,
Strange.
but it's not enough to call it a strain. Like, I don't know. Someone will help us in the comments here, but I don't know. Yeah, he's just been out because he didn't play in the preseason, did he?
No,
Oh,
no.
it's a bruise. So I think here we call that like cork thigh or something.
Bro, that's crazy. He missed the whole preseason and he's missed this many games because of a bruise. That's insane. Well,
That
I know
is,
that our medical team is pretty intense.
yeah, they are.
Well, I mean,
We-
Bobo, they didn't even let Bobo in on our team.
I just want
He
to
probably
shout
didn't
out
weigh enough.
I just want to shout out our medical team in the comments here. About 6 people have just told us it's a bruise. I appreciate all of you guys. That's so good. Thank you. Yeah, I don't look a month for a bruise. Look, obviously they wouldn't be keeping him out, like if he was healthy. So maybe it's worse, but I want to see him. I can't wait to see him. But
No, bro.
I can't even. Oh, we were talking about Tobias, were we? Yeah, I'm lost now. I'm too excited.
Yes, yes. No, we were. No, we were. Sorry, bro. That's my
Um,
bad.
because I like what you said there. Like Tobias came out. I felt like him and Hardaway in the first 6 minutes, they were hitting their
Yeah.
shots. Tobias, I feel like had a quick 8 points, which is what he's very capable of. And then like we spoke about Tim Hardaway Jr., but yeah, Tobias. Oh, I'm so glad those missed corner threes didn't come back to bite us because they did in those first 4 games. Not fully blaming him for those
Uh,
losses, but they are wide open. But look, I don't want to dwell on that. Hopefully he figures it out. But yeah, he was 7 of 15 from the field, but 6 of those misses were from threes. So, he made everything inside. I think he's put together now. I'm throwing the Knicks game out. So in the Pistons, 3 wins in the last 4 games. Like I just damn that game.
we
I,
have
I
to. We
said it
have to,
on.
bro.
I said it after yesterday's win. Man, I'm getting my days confused. That I want to hope that Knicks game was an aberration, but because of what we've experienced, it's hard to say it is. But I'm starting to feel like maybe that was an aberration. So I'm throwing that out. But Tobias now scored 18, 18, 15, rebounded the ball well in every win. So
And that's what we expect of him, and that's what we
yeah.
need him to do.
So I think I want him scoring early. I feel like that's when he can really, you want him scoring the whole game, but he can have just that 5 minute patch where he really gets things going and helps his team. Takes the pressure off Cade. Like he did it in Brooklyn yesterday in the end of the third quarter. Huge few minutes there. So yeah, shout out to Tobias for turning it around a little, even if he's still missing those corner threes. Who else can we talk about here? Oh, let's talk about the bigs. We sort of touched on Stu, but Jalen Duran, I thought we've all been harsh on him. Have you been harsh on him?
I
I
have,
know I
yeah.
have. Yeah, we've all
Well, I
been
said
harsh
to you
on him.
last time we put bench him, and you agreed.
Yeah. We've all been, I feel like the Pistons fan base has been harsh on him. And I feel like most of it's been pretty fair. Like, genuinely. Like, I don't think any of us, when we're being harsh, are like fully out on him and think he's, get him out of the league. We'll trade him, at least the level headed fans. But I thought tonight,
Not me.
23. Oh, you want him gone?
No, I'm just saying. I'm sometimes not level-headed.
I think you're pretty level headed. So he got
Cheers, bro.
11 points, 14 boards, block, steal. Like, I thought his like energy and effort though actually matched the box score tonight, like it did
Yeah.
yesterday. For the like,
Yes.
so I mean, I got to give him his props. I'd love to hear your thoughts on his game.
Well, maybe we needed the Knicks game for this to be what we're seeing, because prior to the Knicks game, well, he didn't defend like this. This is new to 2 games. Like the effort that he's giving defensively in the last 2 games is what we expect from any big, No,
Yeah,
but Duran is now showing. I mean, we know that he can do it. That's the horrible thing, is that we know he can do it. And these last 2 games, he's damn showed that he can do it at a at
yeah,
a serviceable rate. The blocks were nice in the last game, and he did get a nice one this game.
yeah.
He
He
was
was
he
on
was
LeBron.
attempting to. It was LeBron got blocked a heap of times tonight, and I loved it, man.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put
Clip him.
a video together with every block on LeBron.
Yes, yeah, bro.
I actually
You've
love
got it.
LeBron. He's like my
Ah,
childhood favorite player, but yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'll do it for us.
do it, bro. Yeah, I mean, even as well, like, and I'm sure you'll agree, his rebounding, man, in that first half was special, bro. Like he was grabbing everything, apart from Hayes when Hayes had that like 4 rebounds in a row. Prior to that, he was getting everything offensively, defensively. He was rebounding it all, and like when he was getting the ball under the basket, there was no LeBron, there was no AD to stop him dunking that ball. That's the thing, and it tapered off. I think Stu actually played majority of the second half. That's why we didn't see
Yeah.
because of foul trouble. I think it was foul
Yeah,
trouble
you're
for
right.
Durant.
Yeah.
But this that first half, man, what a monster! Like if we see that first half out of Durant every game, bro, I'm listening. I'm in. We don't need to
Yeah.
trade him, but if we see a Knicks Durant, you'll see Evil Allen come back and decide to trade him.
No, I agree. I agree, and you're right to point out the rebounding. 8 offensive rebounds, and then as I don't want to be here says Durant had more offensive rebounds than the entire Lakers team. Guys, I'm going to get to some more comments in a moment, and go through some of them. But yeah, I feel like that was the first game. I think in the Brooklyn game he had an awesome second half and was a bit it was okay in the first, but this was like I felt like every moment, apart from the first 30 seconds of the game where he had a couple of weird plays, he was awesome. And I'm nitpicking, but I thought the box score matched the production on court, like
For
and what
sure.
we watched. And that's like you said, if this is what he can bring, like this is the JD we all love and know he can be. So I think he's gonna have his issues like against stretch bigs like Karl Anthony Towns, but that's kind of what makes Cat special. He still did plenty in that game that was frustrating as, but yeah, just bring that energy and yeah. Like man, he only played 23 minutes and put up those numbers. Like he's
Crazy,
ridiculous. Just
crazy, and it's just that just goes to show like he's not. There's nowhere near. I believe he's nowhere near his peak. He's got a lot of improving to do. For me, it's got to be it's an attitude problem. It's being young. It's an attitude thing, and that's why we'll see maybe games him just drop off because maybe he's tired or he can't be bothered. Like or
yeah,
something's affecting him. But he can definitely do that every night. That's for sure. We all know he can, and yeah, we just
definitely.
need to see it so the fan base can continue to love him.
Absolutely. Well, I think the Pistons now they play Atlanta or Charlotte on the road, Atlanta, and then they have Houston. Their next three for this week. So
All winnable. All winnable.
all winnable and all more chances for Durant to um, continue his strong play. Like he's not going up against a Jokic, so keep building that confidence and putting these sort of games together. Um, Man, I'm just going to quickly go through some comments here
Let's
because
go.
there's a few in here. DG says the Lakers fans in this game was like people watching a show they don't normally watch, only for the guest character. I'll be honest, I don't really understand that, but but thank you for the comment. Tobias wrist broken. Is that? I hope that's a joke. It looks like it sometimes in those corner threes. Uh, Ron Holland might be my favorite player by the end of the season from I Don't Want to Be Here. I I could definitely see him becoming a fan favorite with the energy he plays
For
with and
sure.
just the upside he has in general. Uh, Best rebounding team in the NBA. Oh, what's this one here? Patrick Mahomes looks like his Achilles popped. That's not good. Man, what about all his Achilles injuries? Did you see the Pacers, both their centers, Wiseman obviously, and then Isaiah Jackson have both torn their
I
Achilles?
know. Yeah, yeah.
Horrible.
Pretty crazy.
So,
We dodged a bullet there.
literally, man. That was horrible for what I think that was opening night. That was that sucked.
And chat, how much of a crybaby is Austin Reeves in that game? Oh my
Oh,
god,
let's
man.
you know what? Let's talk about it.
Dude,
He foul baits, bro. He's so frustrating.
he annoys the heck out of me. I struggle watching him, man. I get angry. I get
Yeah.
intrusive thoughts.
Like, are you on Twitter?
Yeah, I am. But
Yeah.
I have a media brand, but it's separate
Yeah.
sport. So, but yeah, for that,
Oh,
yeah,
gotcha. Well,
yeah.
there was a lot
We'll
of
keep it
stuff
out of
about
it.
yeah, that's so probably wise if it's your business. Um, But yeah, there's a lot of Austin Reeves stuff on on Twitter. But yeah, he's frustrating as like that tantrum he threw, which you got to take against him was hilarious. Look, he's a pretty good player.
Do,
I'm not going to lie, but yeah,
yeah.
he's hard. He's annoying to watch.
Do you know what? Do you know what was really annoying about one of those things is that Austin Reeves was going at that referee for maybe 1 to 2 minutes in his ear, saying all
Yeah.
sorts, and it literally was the ref being fed up with him talking and gave him a tech. You see, Stu waved the ref off. It wasn't
Oh
before
yeah.
he finished the wave, he got a tech.
Yeah.
The favoritism is crazy, man, for the Lakers.
Yeah.
It actually is. It's crazy.
I I don't know if it's because the Pistons have been so uncompetitive in the past, but I normally don't get that
It
fired up
is,
by the refs. But I was so like they were frustrating the hell out of me tonight.
man.
Like there was some
The
I
no
was
the no
shocked.
calls,
Yeah.
far
Yeah.
out, bro.
And I was shocked they overturned that LeBron one. I thought for sure then they're not overturning that, but they actually did. So I'll give them some credit. But yeah, man, they were annoying.
And the Lakers commentators hated it. I was on my stream was Lakers,
Oh yeah,
but it was they didn't drop that. They did, so they basically said it was it momentary contact on the lower half? It was something like that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
the commentators wouldn't leave it alone. They just could not leave it alone till the end of the game. They were talking about it, and it was just like, well, if it was the other way around, they wouldn't have called anything anyway. It would have been a clean block to LeBron, and
Yeah.
that's it.
No, you know what? That's something I do. I love that you were watching it. Well, do you have League Pass or are you just watching on any stream you can find? Is that why you
No,
have
I was
Lakers?
trying to. I was hoping I was going to win your league pass, bro.
Oh,
I'm
man.
joking. I'm joking.
No, because I sometimes like tonight, for example, I'll probably watch the replay back with the other team's commentary. When the Pistons win, I always
Yeah, yeah,
do that. Especially if they got those commentators like the Lakers or the Celtics, a real like Homer type broadcast. I love listening to like the pain in their voices they're getting beaten.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But man, the rest was so frustrating tonight. If they had a
And,
loss,
and
I would have been concerned for those refs.
oh, me too. And likely so, because if I was in Detroit, man, nah, I'm joking. but
Yeah.
but but those games are going to happen, and it's going to be the same with Boston. It's going to be the
Yeah,
same when it comes to Denver. It's going to be the same when it comes to the Lakers. You know, these teams that have the superstars. This is where we're going to be playing not only the team but also the referees. And you're right
yeah,
in saying that it's because we've been so bad. The refs don't respect us, and
yeah,
we need to earn that, and we're on the way
yeah,
to doing it, and I can see that. But
and
it's vital we get those leads early, man. It is so vital with those teams that we get those leads early.
yeah, no, absolutely, and it's what you said about, like, getting the rest respect, like, that is actually a real thing. I think we all know
Oh,
that, but
100%.
it's a
100%.
real genuine thing, like, I feel like that's some of where Cage struggles have come from, getting to the line, but, oh, man, what else impressed you? Like, I feel like we haven't I feel like we've covered everything, but maybe we haven't, like, I'm just
JB,
oh, yes, far away.
the goat. That's all I'm going to say, man. Because like,
I love it.
he's the best coach I've seen in Detroit, and since we had the '04 Pistons, I love him, bro. His
Yeah,
energy, the way he connects, he challenges the refs on everything. Like I was in a deep depression because Monty wouldn't fight for anything the other season. Like he would just let it go. But if JB sees that it needs challenging, he'll challenge it. And
yeah,
also the way he gets these players fired up and gets their heads in the air when they're down. Man, he
mhm.
is phenomenal. And I've got to say, also, he's got a great assistant coaching staff as well, that are talking to the players while they're on the bench. So, but JB, man, like we have got such a gem in that guy, man.
That is such a good call. That is such a good call because we hadn't spoken about him, and I think, yeah, he is. I wasn't like, when they hired him, I wasn't like excited or like disappointed. It was just like, okay, like like I think this will work. But man, he's been awesome. Like he is like, I love what you brought up there about the way he motivates his players because I think yesterday's game, I've said this about 3 times, so apologies for those who are tuning in again. But yesterday when I posted that clip about him going at the ref in Brooklyn, and he was fired up after like Schroeder pushed off, and it should have been an offensive foul.
Yeah. Oh, 100% it
He,
should have.
like watching him like get into it, yell at the refs, like we did not see that from the other guy.
Cade,
And
Cade had to hold it back. Like, what?
yeah, we do. I mean, there's that. What's the word to describe this? It's just I call it's like harrowing for me. Like you remember that game in New York where Cade is like pleading with Monty. He's like got his arms up at him. I might have to send it to you.
Oh,
I don't
man.
like
No,
it's
I
like
remember it
he's like,
clearly. I remember
yeah,
it
you know
clearly.
the one. So like you go
Yeah.
from that to literally this guy who's constantly storming the court, yelling at the refs. And that moment
Love it.
yesterday in the Brooklyn game, from that moment after he yelled at the refs, the Pistons were down 8. They went on a 14-4 run, took the lead, never looked back. Like, like that stuff really matters. And yes, like I for some reason I always get annoying Cavs fans in the comments saying JB's trash, this and that. I'm like, he is perfect for our team to help shape these
Got you to
young
the
guys.
finals. Got you to
Yeah,
the finals. I
exactly.
don't know what you're
Go
talking
to the
about.
second round, exactly right. So, like, for what we're trying to build here in Detroit, like, I think he's perfect. And you have to give props to Trajan for making the hire as well, because there was a lot of options. Like, I think a lot of fans, at least from what I saw, wanted like maybe a new assistant coach, like from Sean Sweeney, and there's some other candidates from like winning teams. But yeah, I like it. He's the goat. I love it.
He's a goat. He's a goat. And but I want to ask you a question actually in regards to
Please.
JB. How can you see JB improving the way tech is used?
Oh, I think some of it might be like it's a great question. Like because I would say like I think it's just maybe playing him with. I'd like to see how many minutes he's played with Cade, and this is something you actually brought up. I think in game one,
Yeah.
someone who can get him more open looks. Like Ivy can get you open looks, but I feel like Ivy's passing is still coming along to where like he sometimes misses the open guy. I think playing with Cade a bit more could help him, and just maybe like. Maybe running some sets for him, but Fontecchio's not really a guy you want handling it too much. So maybe just trying to get him some more catch and shoot open looks. So maybe change the lineups he's featured in. That's kind of the first thing that comes to mind.
So an interesting thing with the way I saw how kind of where so when the team was playing great, right? And everyone was doing their part. And it was only later that they brought Tech in, right? And so Tech's kind of seeing everyone's playing well, everyone's getting touches and doing what they need to do when they got the ball. For some reason, I felt that that played into the anxiety, almost like a little bit of pressure on him because he's been the odd one out in these games. Let's be real. But
Yeah.
it just goes to show you how stacked we are now. Like last season, he came in, he looked like one of
Yeah.
our best players, if
Yeah.
not, second best almost. So,
Yeah. He was awesome. Yeah.
so, I just like, how do we get his confidence back? But then how do you stagger? Because when you got nights like where THJ is playing like that, you don't want to take him out. So maybe what I'm thinking with Cade in this is that we take Beasley out and give Tech a bit more of that spot with THJ. I think because Tech's pretty tall, right? He's like 6'7". So
Yeah. Tech's like six
uh,
eight. That's kind of one of the reasons I wanted him starting was just because his actual size and he normally is a good shooter.
yeah, because when it's a confidence thing right now with him, and we know what he can do, and it just hurts me to see that it's being stunted, but it's because everyone else is playing well. So what do you do?
Well, no, it's a great point you raised because he came in, and I think this goes to like the role adjustment as well as whatever if he's dealing with these foot like surgery, still recovering. But like he came in last year, basically started straight away. I think he came off the bench the first game, but then he started straight away. He was literally like the Pistons' second option. Like I think he ended the season averaging like 16 with the Pistons. It was kind of Cade, Tech, Ivy in the pecking order, and
Yeah,
he was awesome. So now he's trying to adjust because you brought Hardaway in who can't miss. Beasley as well, who I think, was pretty poor tonight, but I think Beasley has been I've been impressed with Beasley. I think he's been who we thought. Like he's a guy who's going to shoot a lot. Um, so yeah, like it's tricky because it's like how do you kind of you need to get him going. Like you can't like we do have more depth this season, and that's part of the reason they're able to win the past two games when like Cade and Ivy don't combine for like 50. But like, yeah, you need to get him going, but also the players in the spots ahead of him are playing pretty well. So it's a tricky balance to try figure out because you
Yeah.
don't want to disrupt it. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think he went okay in the Nets game. Like he hit a big three in front of their bench, but yeah, tonight he was probably the only guy that didn't really do something positive. I know that sounds harsh, but I
Yeah,
think
he
it's true.
was. Yeah, he was kind of invisible at times, but you didn't really know he was on the court. But he had some good points. I would say, actually, his defense was pretty good. So his
Yeah,
defense was all right. Like he was
yeah.
serviceable, and he did all right on the offense. I've got also another question for you because this is kind of a thought I've been having because I'm starting to see a trend with the NBA. Obviously, NBA teams were getting smaller. It seems like we're going back to big because of the spacing. We've got more big spacing. So I want to know, what do you think is going to be when we are playing, like, say, Memphis is huge now. I don't know if you've seen their lineup. They're massive.
Your
Like
man Jay
Boston
Huff.
Celtics. I love Memphis, bro. Like it's my
Yeah,
second team secretly.
yeah,
But like you got Aldama and Jay Huff. Is it Aldama and Jay Huff
yeah,
out there at times? And then you got Jared Jackson. There's
yeah.
a couple of
Edie,
them. There's more. Yeah,
there's
Edie.
Edie,
So
the giant. Yeah.
and they've got two of them on in the court at all times. So what kind of lineup do you see us going with when we are coming up against these bigger teams, especially with the experience that we had in Boston? What do you think JB changes it, or he keeps it the way that we've got it?
I think he's going to keep this starting group as is until like unless they go on like a
Yeah.
bad losing streak. Honestly, I think you would. I don't think the Pistons, especially without Asar, like I really don't think JB is going to put Stu at the four, and I hope we don't
Yeah.
see that. Like I just don't think he's going to do that. So I cross that off. The next option would be to bring Tech into the starting lineup and take out Tim Hardaway against say Memphis. But I also think like you can count like Memphis' size. You can like you need Tim Hardaway there to like make him pay if you get like I feel like you can't take that shooting out for Cade and Ivy because that's what's opening things up for them. So I honestly think he just keeps it as is and like especially because it's just a regular season. Like I mean, I've never spoken about playoffs with this team, but like I there are like I think maybe you could start say Asar was coming off the bench. Maybe you would start him against Memphis. Just like I know he's not a big, but he's a much better rebounder defender than Tim Hardaway Jr. Um, but yeah, it's tricky. Like I feel like that's kind of the issue they have. Um, they don't have a two-way
Well,
wing
he's
or
not
big.
he's not going to use Reed at the four. I mean, I don't even know if
Yeah,
he's going to use Reed at all by the looks of things. Like I think which I'm disappointed about, but look, it is what it is.
yeah.
But it's going to be we're wasting him unfortunately because I believe he's a great player,
Well,
man, and he has
yeah,
he has yet to show what he really can do. That guy can put up boards
yeah,
and points. Just look at the small amount of time he played the other game. He got
yeah.
like 4 or
He's
5 boards,
productive.
a couple of he's so productive. And yet, I know like we've either got Duran who's amazing at offense or Stu who's amazing at defense, and they'll do a bit of
Well,
the other bit.
I know like we've just had a win, so it's a bit like weird to talk about trades, but I just had an awesome win, and the bigs were actually really good. We spoke about
They
how
were
good they
amazing.
were. But I spoke about this a lot on the last stream about like what could happen at the trade deadline for this team. And I like maybe Trajan just picked up Paul Reed because he was the fact he was on the waivers. You pick him up. I think he's 8 million this season, 8 million the next. Maybe it's like we had the cap space. You get the insurance there because Stu's typically been injured the past two seasons, definitely. But, if Stu continues to like, I mean, Stu hasn't been great this season, but I think his defense has been like awesome for the most part when he's not in foul
Yeah.
trouble. Maybe because I just believe firmly that Trajan just wants to get more assets. And I still fully believe like he wants to get. I'm not saying the Pistons are going to tank, but like I think we're going to see our man Bobby play a fair bit after the trade deadline if he's not already in the rotation. Like I think Trajan wants to get another blue chip prospect. Like I just think Cooper Flag, these other guys. So maybe he looks to move Stu. And I only say all this to say like Stu might get you a late first if he continues to play really well and help you build that asset cabinet up. And then that's where Paul Reed comes in. But I don't know. I'm maybe going into it way too much, but yeah,
No, 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 that was really good. No, I really like it. That I could see that happening. Like
yeah,
honestly, so many teams want Stu. Like
yeah,
he's a wanted man in this league. People want that motor. People want that
yeah,
intensity out of their bigs.
yeah.
And he can certainly service any other team in the league as well. And he probably has a good fit other elsewhere as well. And I would actually be sad to lose him because of games like this. You
Same.
know, like you do see
Yeah.
his full potential. You know, and of course you would be. But
Ah,
look, I mean, look, I feel like we can get some pieces for him. Yeah, we could get a first round, but we could get something for him.
yeah,
I don't want to let go of Tim Hardaway Jr. now either. I was at the start of the season. I was like, well, he'll be a good trade piece, but now I don't want to let him
yeah.
go. Some
No,
guy just said first half THJ over Michael Jordan. I love that. 3-on-3 report.
I
Legend.
love it. I'll go through
Yeah,
some
yeah.
more comments in a second, guys. I appreciate all your all your engagement. It's awesome. But yeah, I think yeah, the trade deadline is just going to be really interesting because if this team continues to be a good story and a good has a good vibe around it, I still think like one of the biggest errors that Troy Weaver made consistently was not capitalizing on the value of veterans, like not moving Boyan when he had his most
Big
value in
mistake.
his first season. Um, who else? There's someone else. Jeremy Grant. I guess they got Durant in the end, but I don't know. I feel like there's just sometimes, even in the Pistons' history, they've just held on to players for too long. Like Andre Drummond, Stan Van Gundy tried to trade him twice, but when he actually had some value, but Tom Gore's blocked that. There's not much you can do. But there's just been things like that in the past where Tim Hardaway Jr. is like playing really well, but if you could get a first for him, like you look at the long term prospects, like I don't know, you're probably not going to get a first for him at his age, but still, you just never know. Same with Beasley. Like we love these guys right now, but unfortunately, like there comes a point where maybe you just have to move on for them from them. But yeah, not to be. I'm not trying to be negative, guys, in the comments and
No,
like
no.
say trade half the team. I just think it's like it's a good, like it's kind of a good thing. You want these vets playing well and being in trade rumors.
And always an interesting conversation. And I don't think in any way, shape, or form think it's a negative because it could be for the better of the team. And
Yeah,
look, I mean, I don't think the fans have too much attachment yet to some of the players, like for instance, Stu or
yeah,
Ivy or Cade, or definitely Cade, and
yeah,
like, but going back to something, if our team plays like that, where you see the stat line that we have from the five, even going onto the bench in front of Holland, we are going to definitely be in a 30-win position.
yeah.
It's definite.
I agree, man. I like what we've seen tonight and just the maturity in the Brooklyn game too. Whilst that was a pretty like bit of a rough watch, like to come out like just to respond like this after getting absolutely annihilated, I think has got me feeling the best. Like because like that loss to the Knicks for like, especially these young guys, would have been like, I could easily see them, particularly after how last season went, like just being like, we just can't win. Like, do you know what I mean? Just sinking and giving into the losing. But I think mentally to get the win on the road in Brooklyn, come home, play a rested Lakers team, and pretty much like, apart from a couple of stretches, like they dominated the Lakers.
The whole
Like,
game.
truly.
The whole game.
Yeah. Like, we're gonna watch this back like tonight and be like, "Oh, actually, this like they kind of were in control for most of it."
Mm.
It's just when you're watching it live, I know for me, sometimes I think it's 30 times worse than what it is. But I think that's what's got me feeling so good after this win, apart from just actually beating the Lakers, because they haven't beaten the Lakers
Oh,
since like 2021, and there was no crowd in the
so good.
stands. So yeah,
So good. I
um,
mean, that is one team I want to see us beat every time we play them. Like,
yeah,
it is going to give us the most satisfaction out of any team that we play. Well, I say that, but then also, I guess, there's the Rockets and Pacers as well. But
yeah,
Lakers is definitely the top
yeah,
three, like satisfying
yeah.
wins that we can earn for sure.
I agree. The Rockets used to be high for me, but after how they like kind of rocketed, not pun not intended, ahead of us last season, I've kind of like that rivalry is kind of dead for me. But I do want to see them win on Sunday. I was
They,
just
they,
gonna
they've been
say,
playing all right. They've been playing all right.
yeah, I think I, I'll be honest, man. Like I have not. I don't think I've watched any other
Me neither.
NBA game. Like I
Me
can't.
neither.
I used to watch so many games, but it's just Pistons now for me. I don't know. It's all I have time for. Even
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
this full time, I just haven't.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
think the Rockets are like they'll be the favorites to win. I'd be shocked, but um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's gonna be an interesting game. But I wanted to ask you. I kind of mentioned we touched on it before, but Detroit now play in Charlotte. I think in 2 days' time. Then they play their first in-season tournament game against the Hawks at home, and then they also have the Rockets at home. For it'll be Monday morning for us, but Sunday for the last game of the week. How are you feeling about those three? And
I feel
what are
good
your expectations? Yeah,
because our biggest kryptonite is going to be space bigs. None of them really have. Maybe Rockets. They have the Turkish guy.
Shengun,
Jeez, his name is Şengün
Shengun.
out
He
or
likes
what's
to be in the post. He's not real. Like he's not
it
like
does.
yeah,
Yeah, he's not really a stretch, but maybe he can sometimes. But
yeah,
those are the teams I'm going to worry about most. Were the ones with stretch bigs because we struggle to close out on that. But I feel all these are winnable, and imagine we can get a 5-game win streak. I mean, it'll just put the
oh
confidence in our players so much higher than it already is. They know that what they can do now. They just beat the Lakers, who were tearing through people. I know they're coming off a loss, but they were tearing through
yeah,
teams at the start of the season. Um, I see us winning at least two of the three. I see us beating Charlotte as long as we can shut down Trey Mann. He's going to be a sneaky one. If we let Trey Mann get big, it's going to be a problem for us. I hope that
yeah.
obviously Ball, we know about him, but Trey Mann's playing really well. And also Richards is playing really well too. So if we can keep Richards out of the paint and in terms of rebounding and maybe get him in foul trouble, we'll be okay. Um, yeah, and we know the drill with the Rockets. And who else was it? Who was it? The Rockets
Just those three. The Hawks was the other one.
and
The
the Hawks.
Hawks.
We can beat the Hawks. We can beat the Hawks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because it's the same goes with Hawks.
I'm with you. Like for me, the Hawks is the must win. You got to get that one. It's on your home floor.
100.
Just
100.
you should beat them definitely. If the Hornets was at home, I'd be confident. But I actually think maybe Charlotte. Like I think Charlotte might win that one, but I think they beat the Hawks and Rockets at home. Like
Yeah,
I hope they win all
yeah,
three. I could see them winning Charlotte and losing it. Like there's so many variations. Like so, but that's just
yeah.
my kind of feel. But
Charlotte are kind of under the
yeah,
cover good. Right.
yeah, and they're just like Brandon Miller, LaMelo,
Yeah,
like you mentioned, Trey Mann's been like
a
he's
gun.
like Allen Iverson reincarnated off the bench.
Yeah.
Um,
What's going on
like
there?
yeah, what's working for him? It reminds me of was it Rondé Hollis Jefferson when he did the Kobe
Yeah.
kind of look in the
Bro,
World
I
Cup?
love that you brought him up, man, because
Yeah,
I wanted him on the Pistons after the World Cup.
really. I mean, man,
Yeah, I
he's
was
like
like, I was like,
yeah, I
Kobe's
don't know
soul
where he's
just jumped
playing.
into Rondé.
I mean, he definitely could have been on last year's Pistons. If those lineups
100%.
I don't want to talk about them, but those end of March, early April lineups, I can't. I can't. I still watch the games, but I can't. Like
No,
we can't have half the Motor City crews running around. Um,
no.
any other thoughts, man? Like I meant to have Dave coming up, but we can stay for as long as you like. I don't know how much time you got. I can keep. I've got
Um,
plenty more I could ask you, but
Yeah,
I just,
I've got about. I'll go in 5 minutes. I'll take. Yeah,
all
I've
right,
got
beautiful.
probably got to rip out. But I wanted to ask as well. Do you watch the Motor City Cruise?
Honestly, I don't at all. I don't.
Because
No.
last season I did, funnily enough, because they were better than the
Really?
Pistons. They they,
That's
they were actually
incredible.
they were a joy to watch. They were really,
They were
and
pretty good, weren't they?
man, they like we. Do you know who we should have signed before he got that gambling trouble? Porter,
Oh, really?
Jonte.
Yeah,
Bro, Jonte was killing it for Motor City Cruise. Like he was doing everything. He looked like a man playing with boys. And
yeah.
also as well, uh, when he went to the Raptors, like they signed him, they saw the talent. Like I was like, what were our scouts doing last season? Maybe they were just so
Yeah,
happy to tank nothing. It wasn't funny, but we had some real talent down there. And I mean they've completely revamped it. But our Motor City Cruise team this season is even better, man. Scarily
really?
good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because we've got like the best players from all these different teams now in the Motor Cruise all together. Like,
Wow.
who we had, Sebron in preseason?
Yeah, yeah.
He's actually amazing, man. I rate that guy. Like he doesn't have much of a three ball, but if the mid range, he's dangerous. And like McCoy, he's also
Yeah.
pretty good. Big point guard. And we've got a stretch big down there. I don't know how to say his name properly, but it's going to be. I love the G League as well, man.
I,
It just for I
is
love
this,
seeing prospects.
can you just watch it on the website like free?
They had some games on Facebook. They had some games on YouTube. Look, whoever was running the page was just terrible last season. Hopefully someone from the Motor City Cruise is watching. Just put it on
Because
Facebook and just do one site. You know.
I remember the only time I've watched the Motor City Cruise was when Sekou Doumbouya was playing, and I remember I would watch it. You could watch it through the G League's website, like when you just go to like the box score.
Yeah.
But no, I do remember seeing. Didn't they make like the playoffs or the whatever version they have, and they were
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah. They were
can't believe you
smashing.
watched. That is commitment.
Oh
Are you
yeah, bro.
watching it
Well,
this
what was I meant to do? What was I meant to do last season? What was
season?
I meant to do?
Maybe just check out from the Pistons altogether. I respect it the hell out of it though. Um, final thoughts.
Let's go.
Like, just how good does it feel to be 3-5? Like, I know we kind of spoke about this at the start, but I think like just the emotions of all of this. This is like where they're still got a lot to prove. Like they really do. It's 8 games, but this is literally kind of what we've been waiting for. Like they need to do it over the whole season and be competitive. But man, after being like 1-5, 0-4, like to be 3-5, knock off the Lakers, win a back to back like that. Like, no, I don't think many people expect them to win today. Like, and
No,
respect if you put money
no.
on that and we're serious, but to come out and win that, like, man, it's unreal.
It was. And look, let's make it a hat trick. I don't think we should just accept two in a row, you know. Let's make it 4 or 5 in a row. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what I not that I expect the best from these guys, and I don't expect them to win the next 3 games, but like I sure hope that it's a very, very, very close contested 3 games. That if we
Yeah.
win or lose, that we're in them to win them. You know what I mean? And I don't, especially over the next 3 games with these teams that we're playing. I God God pray that we don't see another New York Knicks kind of game, man. You know?
Well, that's how encouraging is that as well? Because the Knicks game they just beaten Philly, and then it was kind of like, have they kind of gotten a bit too confident here? And then they get the doors blown off. But then now they get a win over the Nets, which they should get, and then they come out and shock everyone and beat the Lakers on the back to back. Like, I'm with you. I think you said it earlier when you were like, like winning 2 in a row, and these young guys especially being like, oh, hang on, like this is what it feels like. We can do it. This is how we handle the pressure when a Lakers team, like with LeBron and AD, starts to really like crank it up and you withstand that. It's like, okay, now you just got the Hornets. Let's just look at that game. You can win that. And then it's like, wow, beat Atlanta. It's 4 in a row. And then it's like, this team hasn't had winning streaks. So hopefully they're like, wow, this is like, just harness it all and keep pushing.
Did we even win 2 games in a row last season? Did
We
that ever happen?
did. We
Okay.
did because remember the 2-1 start. How could you
Oh,
forget?
right at the start of the season. That's
Yes,
why I
yeah,
forgot.
yeah. I think they actually did win 2 in a row again when I think Ivy had like 37 in Sacramento, and then they beat Portland in like double
Oh yeah.
overtime. But like I only can remember those because there's so few win streaks. But
We
um
can we can we can do 3. I'm
I
confident we can beat the Hornets.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I just sometimes the Hornets have been like this team's kryptonite. So I just, even though they've won, I think the last few against them. But yeah, let's do it,
Most of
man.
our wins last season came to the Hornets. Most of our wins were playing the Hornets, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Our first win definitely on the road, and I remember they beat them at home. So yeah, I think you're right.
Mm.
Um, I love it. Well, man, anything else you'd like to say before I let you go?
Bro, thank you so much for having me on the show again. And man, look, you just look at the comments, the support that it's we have to stick through thick and thin. And I know it's hard sometimes, but if we can all rally together and get behind this team, I'm
Yeah,
sure they're going to feel it. And bro, we've got so much to look
absolutely.
forward to, and I hope to speak to you again in the future.
Well, as I always say, man, you are welcome after every single game. I know I'm always DMing
Appreciate
you
it.
saying, "You want to come up?" And you're like, "I can't, bro." So I want you up here as much as you've got time. So please come
Appreciate
back
it.
whenever you can. I know the people in the comments love having you on. I love the Aussie duo. How good! I must admit,
Oh,
this is.
good.
I'm gonna let you go. I promise. This has been so cool just to have like another Aussie up here. And you came up after the first game. You're like the second
Yeah.
person. Like it's so awesome. I did not think I'd have an Aussie on this early. So it's been awesome getting to know you, man. And I want you up here as much as you can come up. So I love your analysis, but I love having another Aussie Pistons fan up here. So yeah.
Likewise, and appreciate it, bro. Like since your first video, I've been following you, man, and I'm gonna follow you to the end. So let's keep it
You're
going, bro. I love that you're doing this full time. What a commitment, man. And bro, it's gonna pay off for you. It's gonna pay off for
I
you.
appreciate that. A heap, man. Thank you for being on the journey. And yeah, we'll chat soon, my man. I'm sure you'll be in my DMs.
I will, bro.
All right,
Take
man.
care,
You have a
bro.
good
See ya.
day. Bye.
See you guys. Bye.
What a legend Alan is. I've got it looks like Dave's here, but I can't see his face. So I'm not sure if he's got the camera on. I'm just gonna quickly check my messages. Uh and I'm gonna get to some of your guys' comments in a minute. Sorry, I just got a bit sidetracked there. All right, you know, what, I'm gonna do it now while we wait for Dave because there is so many here. Oh, Kyle's in here. Kyle Metz. Um, did I hear? Oh, so we'll start here. Okay, I brought this one up before. They're on the report. Shout out. Great, great username. THJ, how good. Kyle, did I hear assets? Yes, you must have came in when we were talking about trades. You're welcome to come up here as well, Kyle, if you've got the time. I know you joined, I think you joined after the Philly game last week, so I'd love to have you back up here. YouTube user, Paul is 100% not guaranteed. They can cut him anytime. Okay. I assume that's about Paul Reed. I did not. I'll be honest. Contract stuff. It's a bit over my head. Um, yes, yes. That stew block on Braun had me gridwalking. I love it. I love it. I assume like there was two, but I assume you're talking about that second one because that one was awesome. Uh, I can see Dave around here. I don't know what's going on with his camera. uh, I can see them trading THC Beasley. I think trading Stu would be a mistake. No, look, I just put Stu's name out there because of the Paul Reed thing, and they're just some of my general thoughts. I'm obviously think Stu. I like what he brings to the team morale wise and all of that. But yeah, and if I saw some other people saying stuff about having to keep THC or Beasley. Like I would not trade both. I just think if like the right deal came for one of them, I think you could move one. But I say that just with more of a long term outlook because they've been both awesome so far. Uh, oh yeah, it was C and ink. It would not be wise switching out. Look, and I agree with this. Let me read it out. I'm all over the place. It will not be wise switching up vets on these young guys constantly. They will need to keep either TSU or Beasley. That was a comment I was referring to, and I agree with you. Um, there's some more chat about contracts in here. Yes. Yeah, this is the first win that felt real. It took us 58 more days to get the 3 wins. I might steal that and tweet that out, Cloudy. Oh, wow. You know, it's impossible not to think about last season, but I would love not to. I love that. Great start from you. Nick, there is some benefit to giving the younger players some consistency with the roster. There is, and it's a great, great call from you, backing up what you said earlier. Uh, Now that we beat the Lakers, my inner Bron fan can come out. The way he sees the game is so crazy, bro. He was seeing things on the court I couldn't even see from the 10th row behind him. No, I love Bron. Like LeBron for me, LeBron and Kobe for me are like remind me of like when I was little watching NBA for the first time. Like I love watching them play. I just also absolutely love beating the Lakers and LeBron. Like that fandom goes out the way, but he's ridiculous. He is ridiculous. Uh Look, we're just excited up here, YouTube user. Look, they're probably not, but you know, it's not like the next 3 games. It's impossible. Like if it went Celtics, Atlanta, uh, the Warriors say, then yeah, of course, it'd be ridiculous. But I think like apart from the Rockets, Atlanta at home and Charlotte on the road are both very winnable games. Uh, Unless they decide to completely tank for Cooper and just sell out on all bets for whatever they can get, which is possible, but probably not. Wise to go all in on the lottery that keeps yeah, I get that. I know we get screwed in the lottery, but I'm kind of thinking like maybe if you hover around the fifth worst record, you can get some lottery luck because we seem to get none. Well, we don't get any ever, but yeah. I mean, I don't think Trajan really factors in that stuff, even though I'm with you on how unlucky the Pistons have been. Uh, 3 and 5. Facts. Absolute facts. I'm so excited, guys. I don't know if you can tell, but that game was so fun. Like, I think I'm going to watch that like 2 times over. All right, I'm going to try to bring up Dave here now. Let's see if this works.
Oh, Jack, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just can't see you.
So I don't know what to do on my phone to make it switch to. I probably have it on backwards. I probably need to.
Do you
I
have a
can't-
do you have a phone case on your phone?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
I think I just need to. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
What type of phone do you have? Is it an iPhone?
Yeah, iPhone 15,
Okay.
but I don't know which button to push to get the screen to flip.
Uh,
Remove.
I've never opened a StreamYard link on my phone. Let me
But I don't know why I somehow I did it two
yeah,
other times.
yeah, you've been up here twice now and it was fine.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to hang on, guys. I'm gonna help Dave here, so
Yeah.
just bear with me. I'm gonna send myself a link. If anyone knows in the comments, help our guy out here.
Okay, I touched camera
Oh yeah,
and there's I don't know what I do to make it. Um, yeah, you can get somebody else on, or I can just I
why
don't know.
don't
I don't know what to do, or I can just talk. I don't know. I'm sorry.
what? No, don't apologize at all. Why don't we? Let's do this because I don't have anyone else coming up. So let's go. Why don't you jump out? I'm just gonna send you a new link.
Okay.
And then just I don't know if that'll work, but we'll give it a go. All right, just sent Dave the link. All right, well, let's see how this goes. Dave is a legend. All right, I'll keep going through a couple more comments here. I think I was up to this one about the 3 and 35. They easily could be 5 and 3. They could. Like, I think 4 and 4. Like, they truly could have gotten Pacers and Celtics games. I don't care now that they lost them. Like, I think 3 and 5's definitely a good record for how they've played. Like, that's kind of what they should have, but they could be 4 and 4 for sure, or 5 and 3. I love this, Jason. Love this. Were you? I'm assuming you were there. It was kind of hard for me to hear the crowd tonight. On my league pass for some reason, but I'm excited to watch it back. I'm going to get Dave up now. Let's see. He's that's
It's
right. Hey, we can just talk like this.
yeah, that's fine. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, what a win!
Fire
What a
away.
win!
How good.
Detroit basketball.
I'm giving you the floor, Dave, because I've spoken enough. I want to hear your thoughts.
All right. Well, obviously, I'm sure you've said all this stuff again. I didn't get to listen to what you were saying previously because I was not uploading and doing my podcast. But obviously, the veterans got us off, especially in the first quarter. Harrison Hardaway really were incredible. They hit a high percentage. Cade started out 1 for 5 the first half, and they double him every time he got the ball on the side of the court. He's doubled right away, and so that they make life hard, but he still comes away with the triple double, and he still made great plays down the stretch, and so that was enormous. But it was a great team win, and I talked to you last time we spoke that about one team playing not to lose and the other team playing to win, and it's hard when you're the Lakers. And I don't feel sorry for the Lakers. They get so much more hype than what they deserve all the time. And I said on my podcast in 2004. Pistons just annihilate them. They have Shaq and Kobe, and they have Gary Payton and Carl Malone, and they had all these guys on their team, and we should have beat it. We lost one game, but the game we lost, we easily could have won. It was just they won. They made some fluky shots and half court shots or something. But anyway, after we beat them, we smoked them in the series, and they got all the talk on ESPN was about the Lakers. It wasn't about the Pistons winning the championship. It was about the Lakers losing the championship. And I mean, it just does get frustrating. But and a lot of the fans go to the Laker games, and so there's everywhere they go, they're going to get a team is going to be hyped. The crowd's going to be hyped and sold out, and that kind of happened tonight. But our guys just fought. They played hard. They played hard. It was scary. I mean, they down at the stretch, 3 minutes and 7 minutes and 30 seconds left in the uh, third quarter. We're up
Yeah.
by 19, and then we didn't make a bucket. The rest of we 7.5 minutes of the last 7.5 minutes of the third quarter. The only 2 points we scored were two free throws by Ivy.
Really? Was it seven and a
Yeah.
half minutes? Wow. I
Yes.
thought, I mean, I
Yes.
knew it was like 6 minutes. They didn't score a field goal, but wow, it was
Yeah.
that bad.
Yeah, and so, but they easily could have folded. They easily could have folded, but we out hustled them, we out battled them, we out scrapped them. Obviously we out rebounded them by 13, and Duran and Stu were fighting for every offensive rebound, and Duran had a bunch of offensive rebounds, and they just we out battled them, and Holland had his best game of the year.
Yeah.
Um, but it stinks. I mean, 0 for 5 on threes, and they were wide open, and it's just a problem. But he shot the rest of his shots. He made like every shot that he did. He was 4 for 4 on his
Yeah.
other shots. He took the ball right down Davis's throat. He got fouled once, and then he came right back at him again. Davis got a beat on him, and he just snaked it up and around him, and shot it right through him, and that was a huge bucket. I mean, he's fearless, you know. And then, yeah, it was a great game. Obviously Ivy 10 for 16. He just was electric, and it was cool. And down the stretch when the game was still in the balance, we get the ball to Cade on the side, and he's going to attack him. And then what do? They send a double at Cade, and he kicks it to Ivy for the big three. And then
Yeah, that was huge.
next possession, I think they come down, and the same thing happens. They give it to Cade, and they come to double, and Ivy cuts to the basket, shoots the floater, and the game's over after that. So yeah, it was we were really energetic, and we were they're not a quick or fast team. They're not going to get loose balls. They give up the highest percentage in the NBA at shots at the rim. Like the teams shoot like 70% at the rim on them, and it was a surprising thing because of Davis. You would think that
Yeah.
would never happen because he's still one of the best shot blockers. But yeah,
Well,
he had
you
a
said that you raised that yesterday after the Nets game, and we were talking about the Lakers game, and you said, yeah, they give up the most, or that teams score at the highest efficiency against them in the paint
yes,
at the rim, and that's why in the first 5 minutes I was a bit frustrated that Cade and Ivy weren't attacking as much. I felt
yes.
like they were a bit scared, like they were very conscious of where Davis was, and he was switching on to Cade. But like you said, watching like Ron Holland attack him in the second half, and even Cade attack Davis in the second half, it's like they kind of figured out just how to approach that. And yeah, it was awesome to watch.
Yeah, but it's fun, and yeah, my hot take last time we talked is that they could sneak in at the play-in, and and now that I mean we fans, we're fanatics, we overreact, and it's a big overreaction, but it's certainly we won 3 out of 4. We lost to these great teams. We were up on the Celtics, and they're the best team, and we had a 6 point lead part way through the fourth. We were tied with a minute 38. We played the Cavs tough. It was the Cavs game was with like 3 minutes left in the third quarter was
It was
like a
close.
three point game. Yeah, and so we've played well other than that Knicks game, and so but it's challenged the like sports psychology, what happens, because now we have this big emotional win, and now we have to fly down to Charlotte and and play the Hornets, and they're but I just think we will respond well. I think that they will respond well. I think our team's hungry, and but it's exciting. It's just exciting.
Very
It's
exciting.
exciting to be a fan,
Well,
and the secret to life is when when things go bad, not to let it kill you, and when things go good, enjoy it. And
Yeah.
we haven't had that much good, so we just us Piston fans just need to really embrace and enjoy when we have a big win like tonight. And yeah, I,
Absolutely.
I was so nervous because I mean, even if we had folded at the end, we still had played a great game,
I
especially in
know. Well, that was how encouraging was that? And
yeah,
just because they could have folded very easily. Like the
yes,
Lakers got to within 6, maybe even 4.
yes, yeah,
And they,
6, I
like you
think.
mentioned, that stretch in the third quarter, but then they started the fourth quarter well, got it back out to 10. But then it was pretty much for the whole last quarter. It was like the Lakers were kind of coming. And it wasn't until that Ivy dagger, which I think put them up by 7, that it was like,
Yeah,
okay, they've got this. So to
yeah,
withstand that pressure, really for a quarter and a half, when they have crumbled in the fourth in those against good teams, but they still have kind of had their fourth quarter struggles in the first 4 games, to see them close like that on a back to back after a win in Brooklyn, like,
yes.
it's hard. Like, this is why at least I'm so excited.
Well,
Like,
in
yeah,
our 9-man rotation, which JB does a fabulous job rotating. I love
yeah,
the way and he took Kate out with 3 or so minutes left in the third. He starts him in the fourth, sets him for like 2 minutes or 3 minutes in the middle of the fourth, and then sticks him back in. I mean,
yeah.
that's how many times did Monty try to do something like that? But we have
I
a
don't say
nine.
his name.
We have 9 NBA players, and it's sad. I my heart breaks for Fontecchio. He
Yeah,
cares and he tries and he just he played 24 minutes and he had 4 fouls. Oh, that no,
yeah.
that's the wrong game. I
I
think.
wanna ask you,
He
Dave,
played.
I wanna ask you a question about Fontecchio, because Alan, who was just on before you, asked me, "How can we get Fontecchio going?" And
Yeah,
I'll be honest, I'm not a coach. I gave an answer, but, you're a coach.
yeah.
You've, like I've said on previous shows, like, you've dealt with this kind of stuff before. What would you do with Fontecchio? Like, how do you get him going?
Well, I seriously, I before the year started, I wanted him to start,
Same.
and and he I don't think he's really felt like JB's probably embraced him, but JB, you can't start everybody, and and I would have started him over Hardaway, but Hardaway's outplayed him anyway. But anyway, what has to happen is he just has to have a good stretch, and he did have that one preseason game. I think he made 5 out of 10 threes towards the
Yeah,
end of the preseason. He just has to start having a game like that, but you can just tell he just is. So he played 13 minutes and had 4 fouls and was 0 for 3 and 0 for 2. But and then Beasley played bad. Beasley's, he 2 for 10 and 1 for 5 on threes in 28 minutes.
yeah,
But the other 7 guys were all huge contributors to that win. I mean,
yeah,
we had 7 guys that played outstanding. And
yeah.
so but yeah, I think that Fontecchio just has to have a real good game. And who knows, God forbid somebody get hurt and stuff, but something can happen and he can get a chance and he can get more minutes. But it's hard when you're playing 13 minutes to really get going and when
Yeah.
you've struggled before and you miss shots. But I mean, it doesn't stop Beasley. That guy's a chucker, man.
But
He's gonna shoot. And I mean, again,
yeah.
Holland, he's wide open. He shot those shots. He has more confidence even than what Asar had, I think. But
Well, I think he has way more, like, and I don't even say this is a bad thing about Asar. I think Ron's confidence is his best weapon. Like,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
he does not care. He will. I love that he just went at AD on multiple times. Like, he does not care who's in front of
Yes,
him. And
yes,
sometimes it might leave us going, "Oh, like Ron," but it
yes,
paid off tonight, and it's like, wow. He was playing big minutes in that fourth. Like, I'm
yes.
trying to think, did JB just trust him with those minutes,
I
or was there
know. I
foul
was
trouble?
stunned. I was
Yeah,
stunned that he.
same.
I thought he would take him out 2 or 3 minutes before he did,
Same.
and
Yeah,
he just played him, and it was coming down to crunch time, and and
yeah,
they're going to leave him open, so they're not going to guard him, and so that's always part of the problem is they don't guard him. And the other thing is so we win that game, we beat the Lakers, and we beat them fairly soundly, but we're supposed to be this new great 3-point shooting team.
yeah.
So um,
I was just gonna go there. That's
Hardaway
what
Hardaway was 4 for 8. The rest of the team was 4 for 30 on
I think
threes.
they made 4 of those in the first quarter. So they made
Yeah,
4 threes in the last
yeah.
3 quarters,
And I and
and they
I
still won.
Tobias' shot is flat. Tobias' three is flat. He is so wide open in that corner, and
I know.
he missed two, and all of, the 3-point shot again. My teams that I coached, we shot tons of threes. We would shoot like we would make like in a high school game where you only play 32 minutes, we would make like 10 threes a game or 8 threes a game, and we were one of the. But every time you make a three, it just seems like it's obviously it's bigger than a two. It's but it just kills you when they miss it, and when they miss that many wide open ones, it just
Yeah.
you think the game, when that game got tight, and then why can't Tobias just knock one down? But yeah, we out hustled them to the ball. We just have older players aren't as quick and fast. LeBron is he's still a great player, but he's not as quick and
Yeah.
fast. We got the loose balls. Hey, what about Cade's defense? What did you think about Cade's defense on LeBron?
Loved it. There was at least two times he like tried to back Cade down. Cade, he couldn't really move Cade too much, and then Cade got a great contest. And I just thought Cade's defense overall,
It
like
is.
I love this game from him. I'm gonna let you
Yes.
talk because I've said my thought, but I just
Yeah.
just
No,
for you, like I love that I don't care about Cade scoring when he's distributing like he is
yeah,
tonight, making plays like buckets down the stretch and then playing defense like that. I think that is the best Cade for this team. But
yeah,
the reason he hasn't been able to do that in the past is because he hasn't had anyone to come with him and take the load off. But when you got Ivy,
right.
26, Tim Hardaway, 15 to 19 points, like Tobias, like
Yes.
he can commit to the defensive end. Like, and
Yeah. Yeah.
you can see the potential. So I loved his game out and I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, well, and he's 6'6" and he has a 7-foot wingspan, and he really does. If you look at him and you watch him out on the court and look at how long his arms are. There's one time LeBron backed him down, and he traveled. He turned to shoot his fadeaway. He went right into Cade's chest, and Cade just didn't move. And then he tried to do the step back fadeaway, and he traveled blatantly, and they didn't call
Yeah.
it. But yeah, there were some calls, but that was a big turnaround. That I didn't think that they were going to overturn when they challenged when Stu blocked LeBron. And Stu can't jump. Stu can't get up very high. Stu was way over the rim on that shot on that
Yeah.
block, and that would be a block for anybody anytime.
Because,
I was
but
surprised LeBron didn't complain afterwards when they reversed
yeah.
it.
Were you shocked they actually reversed it? I
Yes, I
thought
know.
for
I was
sure
stunned. I was stunned.
yeah.
I watched the NBA for close to 60 years, and
Yeah.
superstars always get the breaks. LeBron got the breaks. There were a couple times LeBron acted like he got hit in the head when I don't even think he did, and he kind of jerks his head back, and they give him the calls, and yeah.
Um,
So I thought I didn't think they were, but I was proud of that, and JB was fighting for his team the whole time again, and
I
and
agree.
our defense is real. I mean, our defense is real. They averaged like 116, 118. I forget what they averaged, but they got 103, and we held the Nets way under their average. But even like I don't know if did I already say this, the preseason we held Cleveland in the preseason. The preseason is nothing because the starters only play like about half of Cleveland played their starters more than half. And but
Yeah.
anyway, our defense has been just so much better. We don't have great individual defenders. They're still not Hardaway and Beasley and Harris do not have good lateral quickness, and Ivy is flying around out there, but he gives
He
it
gets
everything
lost.
he's got. Yeah, he gets lost. That's a
Yeah.
good way of putting it. But he still just plays his butt off every second he's out there. I think he always has. I get really frustrated when people. I talked to you last time about there's narratives that
Yeah.
get popular and everybody just regurgitates the same narrative, especially about defense. And defense is so hard to quantify. And
It
people,
is.
but once people will start to say this guy's a good defender, or this guy's defense is really improved, or like I said, everybody's down on Duran, and so it's real easy this summer, and everybody's down on Ivy, and everybody just kind of jumps on the train and goes along with it. But defense is really hard to quantify, and there's certain guys who had a reputation as great defenders, and then they don't put the effort. Defense is just a lot of effort. It is being smart, and there's certainly guys. I think Duran's really trying way harder than he did, and he's in way better position. But some guys just have phenomenal instincts and are just really smart defenders, and Dern will never be that, and I don't know that Ivy will ever be that, but they both are great athletes, and so I think they can both be, solid defenders, and with JB's, it appears that he's getting his concepts in, but it's just really hard to quantify defense, and it's really, even
It
if
is
they have metrics, and you can do the
the on-off
offensive,
numbers and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, but they're not, and
Yeah,
I haven't been doing it this year. Last year when I did my post game shows, I would comment on the plus minus, but plus minus is, if it's consistently, if you're consistently Killian Hayes and you have the worst plus minus on the team, then
yeah.
you know that there's something there. But you can, from game to game, so if you play with the second unit and the second unit's no good, then your plus minus, even if you're a pretty good player, is anyway. Yeah, it's just
No,
hard to
I
quantify, but I just think that they're out there trying, and I'm just so happy for them, the confidence that
yeah,
that was a big confidence booster tonight.
I agree. And Dave, I think I figured out how you can get your camera on.
Yeah.
If you just so when when you type in your name and then hit enter studio,
Yeah, I
like
didn't type in my name. My name's already been on there.
so
My name.
okay. So when you click the link where it says like where you can type your name above where it says like settings next to camera and mute, hit settings and you can change which camera. But you'll
Okay.
have to leave to do it. That's the only
Yeah, I
thing.
would have to leave. So, do you want me
So
to do that?
I think have one go with it because I think everyone would love to see your face on here.
All
Um,
right. Okay,
so just
I'll.
give it one go, and if it doesn't work, we can keep
Yeah.
going like this. Doesn't
All
bother
right.
me.
Yeah, I
All right,
will. Okay.
we'll talk soon. All right, guys, I'm gonna get to some comments now because you guys have been unreal in here. Oh, Dave is a Youper. I'll ask him this when he comes back. Love this. I've been to so many games. I've never heard LCA so loud in my life. Wow. Now, I say this every show. I need to get there. This season, I feel like I'm going to be there. But that's awesome to hear. I hope it was all Pistons fans yelling over the top of the Lakers. Uh, just Football Academy. Hard to hear the crowd through the TV, but had no issue hearing AD squeal every drive. See, Nick, he's such a legend that his camera can't grace us with his presence. I hope I've sorted him out. I hope we can get his face. Shout out to you, Henry. Thank you. I remember you were commenting all the way back on my first ever couple of videos, uh, like when it was Pistons Intellect last season. So I appreciate the love. Vulture, what's going on, my friend? You've been in here a lot. I appreciate you. You missed a lot. You need to watch that game back and maybe twice. Seeing coach has been playing a tight lineup too, which is great to see. Last year we had players I've never heard of get floor time. Yeah, that was definitely a thing for most of the season, and especially towards the end of the year. Okay, Dave's got the camera now, but it looks like it's on the wrong side. We'll see if he can fix that up. Oh, here we go. Oh no, he had it. Sorry, you guys can't see. This is bad live streaming from me. Oh,
Ah.
here he is. We got him.
Whoa.
We got Dave. We
All
got
right.
there.
All
That's
right.
great.
Yeah. I don't think
Um,
I disagree. I think your ratings are going to go down as soon as anybody sees my face. I'm this old guy. I'm 69. I just turned 69 November
let's
1st.
go.
So I'm old. And
Happy
so,
birthday.
well, it wasn't. I was all excited. November 1st is the game they played the Knicks. So it wasn't a happy
Oh
birthday.
man.
So I was all excited to watch the game, and then it was over before it started. So
um, I was just going through a couple of comments here, but Dave, Seeing Ink said Dave is a Youper. Tell him that he'll understand.
well, I'm not a Yooper actually. I live in northern Michigan.
Ah,
Northern lower Michigan. So I live 4 hours north of Detroit, but I'm a troll, so I live under the bridge. So that's what they call people that live under the bridge. But I love the UP, and I got my daughter played college basketball up in the UP, and I it's beautiful up there, but I don't live up there. I live about an hour and a half from the bridge that you cross, the Mackinac Bridge.
yeah,
Yeah. So but I live 4 hours north of Detroit. I live north, and I live on the west side of the state, near Traverse City is where I live.
yeah.
It's a beautiful area. I live on this beautiful river in the woods, and
Oh,
I,
that's where I want to live.
I
Somewhere with yeah. I live in the city where I am. Not that you would know where Melbourne is, but
yeah,
it's.
I know where Melbourne is.
Have you been there?
No, I want to be there, but I don't even know about Melbourne.
Yeah. No, that's where I live. But yeah, no, I want to. Me and my girlfriend want to live somewhere like I call it like the country, like an hour and
Yes,
a half out, like farm area, like
I,
lots
I
of
live.
space, fresh air.
I live on right on a river, a beautiful river. The water's crystal clear. I live by 2 miles from
Beautiful.
one of the most beautiful lakes in the world, and I live in a real rural area. There's not any. There's a big town, but it's like over a half hour away.
Yeah.
Traverse City and it's still not big compared to Melbourne. It's a yeah, it's tiny compared to Melbourne. But anyway, I, I
I
appreciate
love learning this stuff about you. This is what I love most
man.
about this show. We all love the Pistons, but I love getting to know about everyone's life and where they live. It's cool.
Yeah,
We're all
this
brought together by the Pistons, but I love hearing everyone's story.
yeah, and I was rare though because I lived up here, and there aren't Piston fans. And like I said, in 2004, I went to every playoff game, and I would in the finals. The game started at 9, and so I would be driving home at I would get home at like 3 in the morning and go teach the next day. I was
Wow.
I, I was at the game. I was at the Malice at the Palace, and um, so I had a system. So I could get home because I even when the game started at 7, I'd still get home at 1, and so I knew right where to park at the Palace, and I knew where I could just get out real fast. And so when the game would get over, I would leave with like even like 30 seconds. So I was a diehard. I would want to stay and watch the game, but the Pistons were playing the Pacers and they were getting killed. And so there was like, I don't know if there's 3 minutes left, but I go walking out to my car, running out to my car to get home so I could go to teach the next day. And they had the radio broadcast piped into the parking lot. And so that's when all hell broke loose. I was out in the parking lot, but I was at that game. I was at the game where the Pistons
Crazy.
played the Nets in the Eastern Conference Finals when they had Jason Kidd and
Yeah,
these guys. And
that's
I,
crazy.
with like 30 seconds left, they were up, they were down by at least 3 or something, and the Nets were going to the line to shoot 2 with like 30 seconds to go. And so I have the people with me. We go running out, and we're running in the concourse, and Chauncey Banks that shot in from half
Yeah,
court, and they ended up losing that game. But I didn't get out of the building, so at least I did get to come back and watch the rest of that overtime game. But yeah, I
that's
got to
awesome.
see a lot of great games.
You did. So when they used to play at the Palace, I think you've said this, but I've forgotten. How far was the Palace from where you are now?
3.5 hours if you
Oh,
drive
okay. Yeah.
fast. If you go 8 miles over the speed limit and you don't stop, it was 3.5 hours. But yeah,
I love it.
yeah,
Well, back to the game.
yes.
Okay. Unless you want to tell us any more about your life, I
No,
feel
no,
like
no. I don't need.
we're getting
I don't. So, Jack, I don't talk about my life on my podcast. A lot of podcasters do. They talk about. I mean, I'm not nothing against. I mean, when Bryce talks about putting potato chips on sandwiches, or when they talk about their lawn and they spend 15 minutes talking about
no,
is the lawn important or not important. I don't like when people do that. I mean, I just want to listen to
you just
stuff
want to
that's
talk Pistons. All
yes.
right. Well, I'm gonna give the floor to you. What else
Yeah.
did you love tonight?
Yeah, I just love that the energy and that they hung in together and that they again they things were bad and they could have folded and they kind of did a little bit and then but they brought it back, which is again the opposite what they've done. And so I think again that I think that will serve them well going the rest of the year. They got to see that they took this shot, and then they still got up and they fought back and they won. But yeah, it was just fun and enjoyable. It was nerve wracking. I'm gonna tell you another thing about my fandom. When the Pistons, this team is going to be fun to watch. But when the Pistons had Isaiah, when he was in his first 2 or 3 years, they had Bill Lambier and they had Kelly Tripucka. You probably don't know who he is,
No,
but
I've
he
heard of
scored.
that.
He scored
Yeah.
like when they had the highest scoring game in NBA history against Denver. They scored like 186 or 188 or something. And Tripucka and John Long and Isaiah all had like over 40 in that game. But
Wow.
anyway, that team was so much fun. But they weren't playing. They weren't in. They maybe made the playoffs and lost in the first round, but they were just coming on. It's before and then right after that they added Joe Dumars and John Sally and Dennis Rodman and Rick Mahorn and James Edwards, not James Edwards the
Yeah.
third, but James Buddha Edwards. And so anyway, those teams were so much fun because there wasn't the pressure of having to win. And when the Pistons got real good, and the one year they won 63 games, and you wanted to win every game because you wanted home court, it was nerve wracking. It was nerve wracking. And look how many frustrating fans there are. Look at if you were a Laker fan, how frustrated you would be. And look at if you were what if you were a Milwaukee Buck fan? You know, these people, they have no hope. We have, especially now. I mean, most people didn't have hope until, for the future, after last season was such a debacle. But then I think that, people can see that this team can be fun to watch, even if we're in the games. Of course, you can't just like it hurt us, even though we knew we were playing good teams and we were 1-4. It still, you know, hurt because we lost every one of those games. And so, yeah, I
Can I
think
just say,
this is going to be a fun team.
when you just said there, imagine being a Bucks fan or Lakers fan, it for some reason made me look at the standings. Guess where the Pistons are in the standings? This has shocked me. I know it's
Oh
early.
yeah, yeah. I heard
Wait, they're
today.
nine. What
Well,
the
so
hell?
yeah, well, but I heard today on a podcast. I think that the Magic were like 3-4, and they were the sixth seed in the
Yeah.
East. And so, yeah, so it's going to be interesting. Like I said, there's a lot of teams that are struggling in the East. There's a lot of teams that are going to end up tanking. We're not going to tank, and I still wanted to get the fifth pick. So and I'm going to tell you the other thing about my fandom that it just killed me. There were games that I was sweating bullets because I wanted to lose. I wanted to get the best odds to get the best pick, and all the Piston fans, they didn't want us to tank, but I wanted us to play well and lose because even obviously, if you have the worst record, even if you don't get a good draw, the ping pong ball still bounce your way. You still We're gonna get at least the worst you pick you were gonna get was our famous fifth pick that we always get. But if we had not had the worst record, we would have got the sixth or seventh pick. And so it matters. Obviously, like I said last time, we would be in way better shape had we got Banchero or Chet or Brandon Miller or one of those guys that we could have got. We just haven't had luck. And people get lucky with even who they trade for or sign for. Again, the OKC, they did not know Shea was going to be that good. They did not know when they made that trade that he was going to be first team All NBA. There's no way they knew that,
I
even though
don't
they
think,
knew
yeah.
they knew they were getting a good young player. And then, I mean, you look at Denver, they can say all they want, that they got Jokic and in the second round, but they passed on him in the first round. If they knew how great he was, they would have drafted. I'm just saying that there's a lot of luck that happens in
Yeah.
sports, and we did not have the assets. We had just negative assets and to
Yeah.
start off with, and so it's a little bit harder for us. But we do have Cade and we do have Ivy and Duran. He's the last two games he's a real NBA center. You look what he's done, and he's
No,
20.
he like was huge tonight. Like I thought he only played 23 minutes, but I just thought like the way he played on the court like matched his box score, and like he was
Yes,
just he was, the energy was there like you mentioned, and I was just so impressed. Like
yeah,
some of the passes he made. See, Stu surprised me tonight with some of his passes. I was
yeah,
shocked.
yeah. They
But
they they
yeah,
both they both last year their turnover percentage was really bad. They
yeah,
both turned it over per the amount of times they handled the ball. They were a negative passing the ball. They would get assists sometimes, but it wasn't. Chris Webber was that way. Chris Webber could make the most amazing passes to guys, and they would wow the crowd, but he had a really high turnover
turnover.
percentage.
Pistons makes me weep. Wanted to ask you a question. What does Dave think about Tech and Paul Reed and how they could possibly be staggered?
Yeah, so that is really a challenge, and I love Paul Reed. I Paul Reed was like one of my favorite before they got Paul Reed. I said get Paul Reed. I wanted Paul Reed. Of course, I liked Grimes too, and so that was painful to me. And I wanted Najee Marshall too,
Yeah,
and not and so those are and I wanted Jalen Smith. That is that the guy that the Bulls ended up signing, and they signed him for 3 years, 27 million. But it is really hard because Paul Reed contributed and played really well on a playoff team, and now he gets no run. And everybody in the preseason, and that was one of my hot takes earlier in the before the preseason started, is that Paul Reed was going to show up in training camp and he was going to play ball out, big b-ball Paul, and that he was going to get playing time. And by all accounts, from everybody I heard, multiple people said that he was amazing in training camp. I also said it. My take was that Asar was going to play so well in training camp that JB was not going to be able to not play him. Even if he can't shoot, I just thought that when they would scrimmage, he would just dominate and do his, Asar thing. So it's, but Holland, I didn't think Holland would ever get in the rotation, and who knows if he
Really?
would have. If yeah, I didn't think he would. There's just too many. I mean, if you're going to play nine guys, and if Asar's playing, who's the odd man out of this rotation?
Yeah, I just thought maybe they'd play 10 and you'd play
Yeah.
Holland like a few minutes here or
Well,
there.
because
But
they're still playing him. Not there's games where he's played like 12 or 13 minutes, and even
yeah,
even tonight he didn't play
I just
that
think
much.
my only pushback on that was like when you invest a top five pick, I know
I
Trajan's not the coach, but it's
yeah
like I just thought this is still a developmental year and you still find minutes for Ron. Like I thought people who said send him to the G League, I didn't really get that. But
yeah
yeah,
yeah. Well,
anyway, it's a small thing.
and he had a year of playing in the G League. So I mean, I'm not positive what the benefits of him playing another year in the G League, but I'm heartbroken that we can't see Klitman play. I was just so
I,
amazed
we,
by him. His you just don't do the passes. I mean, I was as impressed with the passes. His shot was smooth. His shot was fluid, and and everybody that talks about him tells how smart he is. And I
yeah.
heard what his coach overseas said about him and how he's clutch and how he just handles things. And even JB's commented about how smart he is of a player. And but
I was saying, so Alan, who was just on, we were talking about Bobby before, and because Bobby played down here in the NBL,
yes,
and that I worked at the NBL before I started doing this like full time, literally only a few weeks ago. But I did not know Bobby could pass like that, and I
yes,
watched and like did a lot of his games down here, like
those
the
weren't those
shooting, but the passes, yeah, like you said,
they weren't accidental. So my heroes growing up, Pistol Pete Maravich and Jerry West were my two heroes growing up. So I'm really old, but they, well, Jerry West didn't make passes, but Pistol Pete made these amazing passes, and I would try to do those passes when I was a kid growing up and stuff. But Klipman, I mean, those behind the back, behind the head passes, and I mean, those weren't, you just don't do those if you don't have a gift. And so it appears that he has, and he's got. Look how long he is. I mean, we've wanted. I said for 3 years we need to get 6'9", 6'10" guy that can shoot threes. I didn't care about that he could pass that like Klipman seems to have the uh, ability to do, but
yeah.
I wanted us to get, and we just never got one. And even now, Holland's not, is Holland 6'8", I think maybe.
No, I was still so shocked when they drafted Bobby Clintman. Like I
Yeah.
know, even knowing it's a new front office and everything, guys like Bobby, like a guy who's, I think he would have been a sophomore if he was at college, like tiny bit older, just someone who can just shoot the three. Like I feel like Weaver would never pick someone like that.
Yeah.
So when they drafted him, I was like, oh, let's go. But then to see the passing at summer league, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And the,
I'm
the
excited.
shots, the shot's real. I mean,
Yeah,
I love the shot. But he played really well at Wake Forest. So I listened to, a lot of draft stuff. And when the year before, there was a lot, I think Bryce Simons was high on
yeah,
him the year before he came
he
out.
was.
And so people were expecting that he would, even that year, I think Bryce would have had him late in the first round. And so I think that, he had talent. It's a funny game, and you have to get, some guys just get lucky and get opportunities, and some guys bounce around, and then, I mean, yeah, they just, Chauncey Billups, they gave up on him. Two different people gave up on him, and he's in the Hall of Fame. He was the third player picked in the draft. He had a mediocre rookie year, and Boston gave up on him right away. And then he bounced around to Denver, and then Joe Dumars signs him, and then
Yeah,
then he's Hall of
no,
Famer.
literally. And was Ben Wallace? He was drafted by like Orlando or something, wasn't he?
Ben
Traded.
Wallace was not drafted.
Oh, sorry. He started with the Magic, like signed
No,
there.
no,
Or was it Boston?
he started with Washington, and
Oh, that's right.
they might have even been the Bulls. So I watched him play, and it just freaked me out. Who is this guy? And he
Yeah,
was just like tearing up for Washington. He wasn't playing that many minutes, and then he went to Orlando, and then we traded him for Grant Hill, and
yeah,
got him in the Grant Hill thing. And anybody that says that Joe Dumars was a genius, that's what I'm talking about. Luck. We got
yeah,
Ben Wallace, and we got Bill Lambier for like nothing. And just on another subject, I'm jumping all around, but I will tell you, I went to a Piston game, and they were playing Golden State. This was years ago, and Isaiah and Joe Dumars were there, and they were these great guards and stuff. And there was this player on Golden State, and he was a rookie, and he just tore them up. They could not stay in front of this guy, and it was Tim Hardaway Sr. And he had it was famous. He had, they called it the killer crossover. His
yeah,
crossover dribble was, and I didn't know, I don't know, he didn't play at a big time college. I didn't watch him play in college. I don't know how high he was even drafted, but it just blew me away that that guy was that good.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was there tonight.
Yes, he was there
He's
tonight.
been sitting baseline like near the Pistons bench, like
Yeah.
underneath the basket. So yeah, no, it's cool because yeah, he was assistant coach under Stan Van Gundy as well. If you
Yes,
remember
yes,
that.
yes, I remember that. Yeah.
I think they had Rashid as well, or maybe that was just before Stan. That was for like a season.
So I'll tell you about my story. Rashid has this reputation of being so smart, and he
Yeah.
he did he did have some great defensive instincts, which again that Jordan does not have, but he big shot Bob Robert Ory inbounds the ball down to the corner. Rashid runs to the corner to double him. They kick it back to, and we would have won another championship if
No.
Rashid wouldn't have done that. And the other thing about Rashid is Rashid was so gifted, and he could have been he should have been a Hall of Famer. He had the talent to be a Hall of Famer, but he was a doofus. I mean, he led the NBA in technicals
Tech.
every year, and then I love going to games early. I would every game whenever they open the doors, that's when I'm going to be there. So I love to watch guys shoot. I love to watch. I mean, somebody commented about guys sitting on the bench, or maybe it was somebody that actually went to the game because you don't get to go to the games. But um, I like to watch how people react off the court and towards each other and what stuff. But
Yeah.
I like to watch them warm up. Every game, Rasheed Wallace would go out there, and all he would do, he'd come out late. A lot of guys put in a lot of work, and they worked really hard. He would just shoot left-handed threes the whole time. That's all he did, left-handed threes, the whole warm up, every game after game after game. So
That's insane. I did not know. I thought you were gonna say he shot half court shots.
no, well, he
Um,
did that too some, but mostly left-handed threes.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that, my friend. We're going to keep these going. I'm just getting a couple of comments up here, Dave, and we'll get back
Yeah,
into it.
no,
Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate the love, my friend. These are going to be after every game, guys. And we've had Dave up and Alan today, but anyone is welcome. So shoot me a DM if you're interested, and I'll get you set up for next game or anything like that. Wow, we've spoken about a lot of stuff. We're talking about Isaiah. We're talking about Joe
yeah.
Dumas.
Yeah,
um,
I don't do that on my podcast. I don't jump around and talk about those
oh,
guys.
that's
I have this um I got this picture I got to put up so it can be seen on my podcast. It's it's a panoramic view
oh
of,
yeah, nice.
and so I'm sitting on that, I'm at the, this is the clinching game of the 2004 finals. And so
Wow.
I
You
have
were
that.
there for that. That's awesome.
I was at every single playoff game,
Wow.
every home playoff game in 2004, every
Did you
round.
were you like a member or something, or were you just
So
buying tickets?
I had that year I might have even had a 20 game package. Usually I would get a 10 game package.
Yeah,
And so that year they dropped the prices, so I was able to get down in the lower bowl. So I had
yeah,
never applied for the playoff tickets, because when you commit, you have to get every round. You have to do every round, and it got expensive because every
yeah.
round they
Goes up.
significantly boost the price up. And
Yeah,
so, but I mean, it was so worth it, man. I mean, I dreamed when I was a kid I would watch the NBA finals on TV. I remember 1977 when Seattle Supersonics, and they had this Gus Williams. They had a really great team, and I watched how crazy the fans went, and I watched how excited they were, um, and I thought, man, what would it ever be like to be in the stands for one of those? And then I got to go. I went, and when they were at the Silverdome, they lost in the finals to the Lakers um, in '87, and that was the year that they did the Phantom foul on Lambeer that he never fouled, and Kareem. They would have won that series. They should have won three in a row if they wouldn't have called that. If that call would have been reviewed, Jack, today, it would have been reversed. I guarantee it. I
Yeah, yeah.
guarantee you that. It'd be fascinating to go back in history and have an expert review some plays that were
I
they
wonder if
never.
you could make it out with the quality.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. It wasn't that long ago. They had, but
I know. I've seen the footage. I'm just
yeah,
saying, like, they should do it though. My
yeah,
first game at this is from Smiley Face. My first game at the Palace in '05. I took a picture with the trophy with my dad. I love it. And
yeah.
what's have you've been to Little Caesars, haven't you, Dave? I
Yes,
assume
yes, yes.
definitely.
I'm going Sunday with my granddaughters. Oh, no,
Oh,
my
amazing.
daughter and my granddaughter are going with me.
What?
I love watching Houston play because I say this. Sar's my favorite. Cade's my favorite. I love watching. Sar's my second favorite player to watch, and so even on League Pass, I watch the Rockets
The Rockets.
just
Yeah,
because I can watch a men
amazing.
play, and it reminds me of Asar, and so I feel
Yeah,
like I get to. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I don't like it. I don't like it's way harder to get out. It's harder to get park, and it's like 45 minutes longer to get to my house from there. And so it's
yeah.
not, and the parking's not near as good. They don't have a parking lot. You just got to park. I got a ticket and I got my tire slashed after a game last year. So
What?
yeah,
Tires
yeah,
slashed.
yeah. And so well, they only slashed one tire, and then, but I drove it from Detroit to Ann Arbor where my daughter lives, and then the tire went flat, and then but then it was a four wheel drive truck, and so when you change one tire on a four wheel drive vehicle, you got to change all the tires. So it was
Oh,
like $65 for the ticket, and then I parked where a bunch of
man.
people were parking, and then I $700 or $800 for a set of new tires. That was an expensive
Wow.
game, but yeah,
That's not ideal. Hopefully, it doesn't happen this this Sunday.
yeah.
I think.
But it was worth it. I got my Cade bobblehead.
Oh, let's go. You've got the newer one.
Yeah,
I got my bobbleheads behind me. Who have I got? I've got a Sadiq Bey one. I've got Cade, Ivy, Stu, and Grant Hill. I
yeah.
got a few.
I have Ben
You got
Wallace and
it.
Tayshaun Prince and Mehmet Okur. You probably don't know him.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I remember him more on the Jazz though. When I
Yeah.
started
Well,
following
but
him, yeah,
so that,
yeah,
Larry Brown, I hated Larry Brown because he would not play. Melvin O'Kerr shot the best percentage from the field in the playoffs of any Piston, and Larry Brown would not play him. And during the season, Kirk would play brilliantly off the bench, and he would miss one defensive rotation, and Larry would bench him for like a
because
week,
it,
and then
okay,
he
yeah.
finally get to play, and then we trade him for nothing, and he becomes an all-star for Utah.
See, I remember him as like I know there was Dirk who was shooting like from the day he was drafted, but I remember Okur as like one of the first ever stretch bigs.
Yes, he and all
He
those
was
guys
such a
like
good
him.
shooter.
He would have been a big time 3 point
Imagine him
shooter.
now. Yeah.
Yes, yes. If he were into a lot of guys would be so much better if they played today because they would, even Bill Laimbeer never shot threes, and then at the end of his career, he made like six threes in the finals against Portland in a game, and
Yeah.
he was never ventured away from the basket for most of his career. I mean, it's just like Lopez.
Yeah.
Lopez. He first 5 or 7 years he never shot threes, and then now he shoots them constantly. But yeah, it's
Someone
just,
said, Dave, you must have a Jeep Cherokee.
why
Is that right?
why do they say that? Because
I don't know. I just found it funny.
yeah, I had a GMC
Maybe seeing
Sierra.
ink, maybe seeing inks was the one who slashed your tires. No, that's I
Oh no,
shouldn't laugh at that.
yeah, did
I
it?
just think that's so unlucky to get a ticket and your tires slashed at a Pistons game. I'm guessing they
Yeah.
lost as well.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. That was last
Oh
year,
man,
so they.
that's horrible.
I had a great time. I took my granddaughter and her boyfriend, and we had a really good
That's
time. So
that's beautiful.
yeah,
Um, well, I'm excited that you're going to a game on Sunday. We
yeah.
need to, we need to maybe your granddaughter could help you post some photos on Twitter.
Yeah, I probably can. Yeah, yeah. We'll post some pictures on Twitter, but
Yeah.
yeah,
We
of
need you
course,
down there talking, getting their shooting forms right. What after Sunday, I'm gonna get you on. Maybe not Sunday because you'll be with your family, but the
yeah,
following game, I want to hear about the shooting and how the players look in their warm ups and stuff.
yeah. I'm excited to watch. I
Yeah,
hope that I get to see. I went to that open practice they had in hopes of watching a star shoot. That was my one of my big goals, and then he didn't shoot. He didn't warm up. I thought he would do the non-contact stuff, but he didn't. He didn't even go on the court. So
yeah.
he was
Well,
there on the sides, but he's. Yeah, I just feel bad for that kid. Like I said last time, nobody loves to play the game more than he does,
I
and
know.
he doesn't get to play. So and he's so elite at everything that he does, you know.
Yeah,
But yeah, and people talked about who would you trade of the, that was a big debate all spring and summer and stuff about of the core four or stuff. But my thing is they just had to play them. That was my thing with Monty is you just got to play those guys. The core four last year never even played together when they were all healthy. They never hardly played any minutes together just because Monty wouldn't do it. But yeah,
yeah. Ivy didn't. Yeah, it was always out of the lineup.
so it's a big thing that Ivy, Duran, and Cade. That's So if like I'm watching the first quarter and Harris is doing great and Hardaway is doing great and we're way ahead and we're winning, but we need those guys. I want those guys. I think we need guys like that to help us win because it is important that these guys do learn to win and experience winning. It's not as bad to get to go through what they've had to go through. But having said that, I don't want to win because of those guys because if those guys are putting up all the points and the young guys aren't because Hardaway, he's got a 1 year contract. We got him. Beasley's only signed for 1 year. Fontecchio's only signed for 2 year. Beasley's, yeah, they're all signed, for just 1 year. And so that's not our future, and even if I wouldn't be opposed to re-signing them possibly, but yeah, I just think that the key is to have our young guys, and that's what's crushed us. That's what's crushed us. That Ivy got screwed over last year, so he didn't get to develop like he should have, and Cade missed a year with injury, and now Asar's missing a year. So
Yeah,
that's terrible luck when you have
yeah,
those key guys that you want to develop because everybody doesn't get. Jack, I don't know if I said this one before to you. Anybody that's good in the NBA, they win their championship, they're 27 years old.
yeah,
Curry, LeBron, Michael
yeah,
Jordan, every one of them, Giannis, Isaiah Thomas, there it goes on and on. It's just freaky how many of them were like 27. So you can't win when you're old and you can't win when you're too young. And so all these fans that are get down about Cade and Ivy when they're 22 and 23, that's I did I share with you that Curry, somebody asked
I
Steph
think I
Curry,
like.
they
Yeah,
asked Steph Curry, when did you feel like you could contribute to winning? He said after like year four, and he played 3 years of college basketball. So
yeah.
yeah, it's just
It's
it's
tricky because I think a lot of fans, like, with the rebuild the Pistons have done and just gone straight into the draft, that there's no like, they're tanking, like, losing has been the priority for, like, 4 years. I think a lot of fans would hope they were going to be like that OKC team with Durant, Harden, and Westbrook, but, like,
yeah, yeah,
they were ahead of the curve when they started winning, but they also had
yes,
3 future MVPs, which is, like, 1 in a
yes,
million chance, so
yes,
I think,
yes,
like, that's where the shift has come for fans is, like, some have like, I think even for me, I had never experienced a full rebuild as a fan, so my expectations, I didn't realize how long it takes, and then you throw in how much, like, bad luck they've had with their picks and their
yes.
development time being lost, like
And the
yeah,
fact that
yeah,
we didn't have any veterans to trade off to get valuable assets. We didn't have anybody to
yeah,
trade
yeah,
to get
that as
draft
well.
picks. I mean, even now, like I said that we couldn't, he we had all this cap space that we could take on bad contracts and stuff and get draft picks, but we didn't get any. I mean, that we got 3 second rounders or something for Hardaway. That's all we got, and we had $60 million, and it just was hard.
Yeah, no, it's you know what? Like, it's so nice to be sitting here and like having this conversation, but also talking about this while the team's 3-5 and they've just
Yes,
beaten the Lakers. Like, I feel like I've had this conversation with so many Pistons fans and like, I don't know, other podcasts where like we talk about all the misfortune and the patience and this, but like
yes.
the fact we're sitting here getting to have this chat and the team's actually coming off like
It's all,
two
it's
really good
all,
wins, it's
yes,
fun.
it's all
It's fun.
different. I think that it's still going to have ups and downs. I think out of every 5 games, we're going to have, you know, one great game and one good game and a
Yeah.
couple average games and a bad game. And I think that's just, we do have a young team, and it is hard in the NBA, and there are a lot of talented teams, and we're going to lose to somebody like Charlotte that maybe everybody, a lot of Piston fans I hear talk, they're looking at our upcoming schedule and they're like chalking up wins. It just cracks me up that they're just automatically think, oh yeah, we're going to beat the Hawks and we're going to beat the
Can I
Hornets.
ask you then? Like, because so I did have that chat with Alan just before you jumped on. So they play Charlotte now in Charlotte, which I think is going to be a tough game. Then they
We,
play
we,
Atlanta at home, which
yeah.
I think is a must win. But then they play the Houston at home, which is going to be tough as well.
Yes.
What are you expecting?
We're certainly capable of winning every one of those games, and we're capable of losing every one of those games. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, being this, I'm not that smart. I just know that they got talent. I mean, I don't like the Hornets. I mean, I love Brandon Miller, but LaMelo is not a winning player in my guesstimation. He's very, very gifted, and he takes crazy shots a lot of the time, and he was one of the most phenomenal passers I've ever seen. He is gifted, and he can make these, like Pistol Pete Maravich. He can make these passes that very few guys can, but he doesn't. He's never, his assist totals are never that high, and again, like I said, his percentage is never that good. He gambles on defense. He's not as good on defense as he could or should be. And so, yeah, and the same thing with Trey Young. Those guys I don't think are winning players, but they're talented. And I don't know how many guys are coming back. Brandon Miller's coming back now. I don't know how many guys on the Hawks have some injuries, and so that certainly plays into it. I think Bogdanovich is out, and um, Hunter's been out, and I don't know if he's coming back. So they've had somebody else that's injured on that team, and so that matters also when you play teams who they have that's available. I thought D'Angelo Russell was doubtful for the game today, and so that all those things play into things, and then
Oh no, we might have lost Dave, or at least his internet might have dropped out. Just while we wait for this, I'm going to go through some more comments. Uh, Yeah, from YouTube user, Ron needs to learn to use his left hand, tighten up his handle, and obviously improve his shooting when going zero for every night. Doesn't matter. He obviously needs to stay now because of Asar. Yeah, I agree on the first part of that about the handle. I think that's one of his biggest areas for improvement. Like he's very upright when he dribbles, and he dribbles it quite high. But tonight, no turnovers. So uh, I like when he's in transition. I'm happy for him to like attack and have the ball in his hands. But yeah, he needs to improve that handle a bit more for when he's trying to create in the half court. I'm just going to go through some more. The reason the Pistons won was the Lions players' aura from the crowd. I saw that. It seemed like there was like at least 5 Lions players there. There's a couple of photos. I don't follow the NFL or Lions at all, so sorry. But I believe, is it Brian Branch? Maybe he was there. I don't know. You guys are going to think I'm really bad, so I'm going to try and say the other players' names. But it was cool to see them in the building. What else do we have here? More from Smiley Face. In cases like Asar, it's almost so bad for an organization. I wish you got some sort of compensatory picks. Like there's a chance he never steps on the court. Yeah, it's one of those situations which is just, I feel you, but like it's so unfortunate and so unlucky that yeah. I mean, I don't even want to put too much life into the into the idea of him not stepping onto the floor again, because I think he'll definitely be on the floor again. I'm just starting to think it won't be this season, and that's okay. It's not ideal. We would all love to see this young core finally play together with a good coach at the helm, and but hopefully he's back this season. But I mean, if he's not cleared to play till next season, it is what it is. What else do we have here? Let's be real though, he's 19 and much more polished than Sekou or Killian was at that point. I assume, are you talking about Holland? Or are we talking about yeah, I think we're talking about Holland. I agree. I mean, Sekou was like 18 and he was a reach at like pick 15, was it? Like, so I think Ron at pick 5 is expected to be much more polished and a much better prospect. But yeah, Killian. Yeah, Killian's rookie season was rough. I know he had the injury at the hip, but yeah, Killian. Yeah, Killian Hayes. I can't like that. All the podcasts and stuff I've been on, and like these shows, the amount of times I've mentioned Killian Hayes' name is crazy. Like, so the fact I haven't really said it this season, it feels weird to be talking about him. But yeah, the signs were there in his rookie season that he might not have been the right pick at 7. I think it just took us probably 2 years to realize. Some might have been out a lot earlier, but I think we all had hope there for a little bit. I think Dave, I'm not sure. I haven't heard from him. Maybe his phone's died or someone's called him. But I think, guys, we've gone for 2 hours again. That's a 4th in a row. Maybe it's a 2-hour rule. Like, I know we had the Knicks loss in there, but in 3 of those games they've won. So I appreciate all the comments, all the support. Oh no, Dave's back. Dave is back. Here he is. He looks like he's on his computer now. You hear me okay, Dave? Uh-oh. I think you need your mic, maybe. Oh, let's go. You've got the setup going.
Yeah.
Are you on your computer? You must be.
Yeah, that's on my computer. Can you hear me?
Yeah, this is perfect. I feel like I'm watching the podcast.
You feel like you're watching a podcast?
Watching your podcast.
So anyway, we were talking about winning in the NBA, and so who would have thought that the consensus worst teams in the NBA, the 2 worst teams everybody was trashing, were the Nets and the Wizards, and
Yep.
the Wizards have won at least twice, right?
Yeah, they've won. I saw they were 2-2 last. They might be 2-3 now.
Yeah, and then the Nets, obviously they won 3 and they might have lost one of their games in overtime, and so to say that anybody is a sure win, that you're going to beat somebody, is really hard, especially when you're a team that won 14 games last year. So that's when people try to predict and look at our first part of our schedule was so tough. And so I can understand why people, thought, oh, this is easier, so we should naturally just win these games. But I just am amazed at people. How do they think a team that won only 14 games last year is automatically going to beat the Hawks? And I know we can. I would not be surprised at all if we beat the Hawks. But
yeah, I mean, I just I like looking ahead, and I think I'm with you. Like, I think it was before the start of last season, funnily enough, because I remember I did this when do you know Detroit Bad Boys, that site?
yeah,
Anyway,
no, I haven't been on that site before.
yeah, I used to do I used to do writing there, and I did an article where I went back and looked at in the lottery era, so since 1984, teams with the worst records, average win increase was only like 6 wins.
Yeah,
Like, so
I heard your podcast where you talked about that.
oh, okay. So
Yeah.
so when the Pistons last year, on average, teams would win 6 games more. The Pistons last year won less, like 3 games less.
Yeah.
So they were an outlier in themselves. But
Yeah.
the only 2 outliers to make the playoffs from having like a 70, like the worst record was Miami, and they had Dwayne Wade in 05, or he come back from injury, sorry. And
Right.
then I think it was the Bucks with Giannis. Like, so I'm with you. Like, with this team, when you win 14 games, like, and you're the worst team in the league by quite a bit, kind of,
Yeah.
you shouldn't expect any game to win. That's why, like, any team they play, especially on the road, if they win, I don't care who they're playing.
No,
It's good. It's good. I don't care. Like they can have half their G League team in. I
I
think these young guys, any win
I
is good.
agree.
Yeah,
But
because it's about confidence for them now. Like, because their confidence was shattered last year for
yes.
any win.
Yeah, and I said I even think that that carried over to this year. I think that that contributed to their fourth quarter, where they fell apart in the
Yeah,
fourth quarter because it's just like, here we go again, and we got to win. We got the lead. We're close. We can't let last year happen again. And so I just think that it was big. And again, we would have won those games, some of those games, if just one of the veterans would have shot like they did tonight. And it's just hard. But I think there's teams though that have. And I probably mentioned this to you before, that Cleveland improved like 22 games, I think, the year
yeah.
that they got signed Mitchell.
Yeah,
And so, I mean, I always say everybody, I like JB. I love so much of what he's done. And so, but now they're doing better. Cleveland's doing better without him. They're doing really great without him. And so, but it doesn't mean that there's a lot of factors, but that Cleveland team that he had, that everybody said, oh yeah, JB gets his teams to improve and gets to playoffs, but they were loaded. I mean, Garland and Mitchell and those guys, and Allen and Mobley, those are all stars. Mobley hasn't been one yet, but he will be one. And those were just great players. And we did not have any all-stars on our team yet. And I'm excited. I'm excited, Jack. Come on. We win
hey,
some games here and we get some momentum, and the national media sees we beat the Lakers. Cade gets a triple double, and he
it's
could make the
huge.
all-star game. And I
Hey,
still I think that we just need to be, if we can trend for a month and get close to 500. We do have a stretch. I mean, I can't remember exactly when the stretch is, where the schedule is really favorable. There's about a month almost where the overall schedule is much friendlier, and that I really can see us taking off. And but it would be fun. It would be fun to win
hey,
30 games. I don't know if I'm so bad with technology. I'm not a bet gambler, but I knew I wanted to bet the over under on the Pistons before the season started. I went on FanDuel and I tried to find out, and I just don't waste my money gambling, but I just wanted to do it just to, put my money where the mouth is, because I just felt like they're better than 25 and a half wins, even though that's hard because you did the research and you knew that the odds of them winning that would be 14 more games than they won
yeah,
last year, or no, 13.
yeah. No, you're right. So, like, but I think we all knew last year that was an outlier in history. With you throw in, like, I really believe that was not normal because they fell so far in the draft because of the new lottery odds, which kind of
Yes.
stuffed things up. But also the coaching situation, like before Monty even got there, like Tom Gores had to fly him over on a private jet.
I
We know
know.
all that stuff. He didn't even want to be there, and ultimately, like Monty gets a heap of the blame, and like as he should. But
Yes.
like he did not want to be there, and the signs were there from the start. But I
Right.
think a lot of us wanted to ignore it until you couldn't ignore it.
Yeah.
But yeah, last year was so bad like I'm like, did you say so? You're 30 wins. Like I think that my prediction's been like 28.
Yeah.
Which is like the same. It's yeah,
My prediction, actually, I'm not 28 to 32. The thing
yeah,
is there's so
yeah,
many games that are decided by close games. I mean, our Lions are just smoking people now,
yeah,
but earlier in the year, they had like 4 games that were decided in the last minute. That's what sports are about, not as much in the NBA, but it still is. You have to win, have some breaks go your way, and you have to win some close games. And so that determines a lot how good your team does. And if we're just going to have to win, and we haven't showed the propensity to do that until, I guess you could say, tonight. Well, against the Nets, so we ended up beating them, but we were behind the Nets. The Nets aren't that good. We were behind at halftime, and we were the better team. I believe with all my heart we're better than the Nets, but
yeah.
they still got NBA players. You know,
You know what's interesting? It's just you saying that just made me think of this for some reason. All three of the Pistons wins have been double digits.
yeah,
That's pretty impressive. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
Like 12 points tonight. I think like 10 points, 12 points over the Nets. And then, I mean, Philly was about the same. Like
yeah,
that's pretty impressive for a young team to get
but
double digit, but
yeah,
particularly tonight. But yeah,
and we all know that sometimes the final score is not indicative of what the game was. Sometimes games are blowouts and then they just get closer at the end, and sometimes games are close at the end, but really it was more of a blowout than the final score showed. But that's yeah. But they again, rebounding is a big thing. I mean, I did somebody say that in rebounding differential we're tops in the NBA?
you know what? Someone did mention how good the Pistons rebounding has been, but I'll see what I can find here.
Yeah, we're like, and that's what I love about you. I didn't know you, and would always steal your stuff off Twitter, and because you
Go
always
for
come
it.
up with all that stuff. You have a lot of people that follow you on Twitters. You ever
Yeah.
you need to
Um,
get Richard Brooks. Do you know who Richard Brooks is? Have you
yeah,
seen
Richard's been I know Richard is. Yeah, yeah.
he been on your podcast on the?
No, he hasn't. I'll
You
message
need to
him.
get him.
Yeah.
He's
I know
smart. He's a smart, and he's real active on
yeah, no, he's
all the
always commenting. He's awesome. He shows
yeah,
support
he
to a lot
knows
of people.
he's knowledgeable. I respect his opinions.
I would love to get him on. I'll send him a DM.
Yeah, I want to see him. I want to see what he looks like. He comments on mine. He's been really a great support to me. But I have so many good fans. I don't know if any of them are listening, but I just so
They
much
would be.
appreciated. But
Yeah.
I did mention to you last time though that we for whatever reason when we were so terrible when Monty was doing all this terrible stuff, everybody wanted. I would put these headlines about fire Monty or something, and then I get 2,000 views or
Yeah,
3,000 views. Or
I know.
of
That's
course,
just the way it
one of my
goes.
biggest ones was when we traded for Weissman. Of course, that was I got a lot of
That's all
Warriors
the
fans.
Warriors fans. Yeah.
Yes, but the people were just intrigued by the streak. People from all
But
over were about the losing streak, and so they were
it's very
captivated.
interesting because like the Pistons, so in the social media era, so like I would say like social media continues to get bigger and bigger, right? But
Yeah,
Instagram and Twitter have been around. Like I remember them in like 2008, 2009, but I feel like in the last decade they've obviously become more popular, clearly. But the Pistons have never been good. So I think
yeah,
I'm pretty sure there's a stat the Pistons. So like for social like and like YouTube stats and all that, like the Pistons, because they haven't been relevant, they've
yeah,
missed out on like so many like opportunities.
right,
And I'm pretty sure they have like the lowest following combined across like their platforms of any NBA team, just because
yeah,
they've been so irrelevant. So like when you're talking about views and stuff, like yeah, it's when they get ties to like the Lakers or the Warriors. But I think if they can actually get their thing together, like there's
yeah.
so many Pistons
Oh,
fans
there are
because
people love it. Yeah,
they've
I
just
think.
checked out, I feel like a lot because the team, I mean, unless you're a diehard like you and I or the people watching now, like there hasn't been much reason to really
Right,
watch.
but that's what's exciting if they can get this rolling a little bit and just get
Yeah.
a little bit. I think there's Detroit fans are passionate. They're passionate about all the
They are.
sports. I mean, all the people followed the Tigers. I was a big Tiger fan for 50 years, but I'm not so much anymore. And they had a shockingly surprising season this year. But yeah, I think that we'll get a lot of listeners.
Yeah. But like I just want to respond. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're lower than Washington because Washington got a huge boost when they drafted Rui for all the Japanese fans.
Yeah,
but like yeah, no, I like the amount of Australian Pistons fans, Dave, that became fans because of that '04 team and that era is crazy. Like the amount that just message me and be like, "Oh, why are you a fan?" And I say my story, it's a bit underwhelming, but they're always like Chauncey, Big Ben, or some of them are Isaiah. Like they
yeah,
love the bad boys. It's
yeah,
there's because that's the sad thing about the Pistons. Like he's like they are such when I first started following the NBA in like '05, '06, like I was very young, but they were like the most consistent, like they were a what do you call it? Like they were just a premier franchise
the
of the NBA.
Pistons.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
so that I appreciated that. So they went to the Eastern Conference Finals 5 or 6 years in a
yeah,
row, and
yeah,
and I knew as a fan because I was a fan when think I shared with you. The first 20 years I watched them, they never hardly made the playoffs, or they made the playoffs like once in all those
yeah,
years. And so I knew that even though people get frustrated with teams, even if they make it, people get frustrated if they make it to the finals and lose. And
yeah,
our fans are so fickle in every sport. They're that way. If we lose what's wrong with the Yankees? What are the Yankees going to do? They lost in the World Series, man. You made it to the World Series. And so but I just appreciated that I got to watch all those playoff games all those years, even though we didn't win it all. I was happy.
yeah,
Sure I wanted to win it all, but I just to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals when so many people never, even make the playoffs, or they're not that relevant. That's why I'm really big on it. I really hate though when they're I don't hate the people, but it's frustrating for me that people, they want to make these moves to get
yeah.
somebody and get to
I
the
think
middle of the pack. You mean like I think I shared with you the Wizards. They finished. They were like the 10th or 8th or seventh. They were right in there. They never made it anywhere. They never were. There was never hope that they could ever win the championship, but they make the playoffs. And they were never
yeah,
going to rebuild, and they weren't going to tear it down. But I like this team. I like this Piston team. I mean, I liked the Tobias Harris team. I like
yeah,
that team when he was here the first time,
yeah,
and they were fun to watch and stuff. But there's not been many teams that the last 15 years. I like this team that we have right now watching more than any team we've had. And of course, I didn't hate Blake, but I hated the trade
yeah,
because and stuff. But that team was okay, and he had that one spectacular year where he was certainly one of the best players in the NBA. But we haven't had that since Grant Hill. But yeah, it still is a lot. This team's going to be fun. I love this team. I
yeah.
love
And I think that's why I love your perspective because you've been through you've watched this team for 60 years, did you say? Like, I think a lot of fans that want like the Brandon Ingram trade, I think that's why, like, honestly, over the summer, like, I even had the thought of moving Jaden Ivey after being so all in on him. Like,
yeah
because we don't actually know what it looks like. Well, we don't have the perspective to see what a winning team looks like or what a functional like NBA franchise looks like. We only know a team that trades for Blake Griffin at like
yes
clutching for straws to make the 8th seed. We only know a team that signs Andre Drummond, but then the owner keeps blocking trades. Like, I love Andre, but like he should have been traded and Stan
yes
tried to, but the owner comes in from nowhere because his
yeah
reasoning was Andre gets double doubles. Like stuff like that. Like, and I'm not even bagging Tom Gores here. It's just some of
yeah
the stuff's crazy. Like, we don't have that perspective you have. That's why I love your perspective, and I think a lot
yeah
of fans gravitate to you.
yeah. Well, somebody said it's something about I should cut out my intro, and it takes 20 seconds. So and again, I don't usually talk. I talk more irrelevant stuff with you tonight than I ever have. And you're invited to come to my house, but I and come up north. I walk my dog along this beautiful river.
Yeah,
I walk like 5 to 7 miles a day, and
yeah,
I share with you I have some health concerns.
yeah,
I'm having surgery at Cleveland Clinic. I
yeah,
have degenerative disc in my neck, so my arms and my legs are numb. But I still walk along this
horrible.
beautiful
Yeah,
river. But in the winter we get lots of snow up here. We get lots more snow up here than they do in Detroit.
yeah,
So it would be fun to have come over here
yeah.
during the season and bring your
Oh,
girlfriend and
yeah. I've never been to the snow.
yeah,
How crazy is
we
that?
used to whether people believe it or not, global warming is a real thing, and our climate up here has significantly changed. It's way warmer during the winter. We get way less snow during the winter, and even when we get
Yeah,
it, it melts compared to my childhood. The snowbanks would be 8 feet tall,
yeah.
literally.
Wow.
And so, but now we hardly we get snow and it even melts off during the winter and it comes back. But yeah,
No, I love to hear it. Like I'm pretty confident I'm going to be in Detroit at some point this season.
yeah.
So, and I'm
But
going to
whenever
be
you
there.
come, I would surely hope that you could
Yeah,
give me a heads up so
I will.
I would love
Trust me.
to
I'll
meet.
be, I'll be
I'd love,
letting everyone know. I can't like,
yeah.
I can't wait to get there.
We need to
Um,
get all the podcasters that are all your friends and get them all together and do one. Just big
Oh, man.
podcast, and
Absolutely. But you know what as well, like, I can't wait to meet, like, other content creators, whatever, but, like, man, just getting to be at LCA, I know you don't it's not your favorite place, but for me, like, going to Detroit and
no,
just
it's cool.
the
It just
people I've spoken to are just like, "I'll give you food recommendation," like, I'm just excited to experience the
yeah,
city because I feel like my home is Detroit, even though I've never been
yeah.
there, just with how much, like, I have to do with this team in my life, so
So
I can't
so
wait to get there.
what time is it there right now?
It is 4:30 PM in the afternoon,
Oh,
but I'm a day ahead of you.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, you need it. I wonder if Amari knows what time it is there.
Well, I think
No,
both you
they Amari, they on one of his podcasts, somebody I think sent him a message from Brazil or something, and he had no clue about what the time zone would be
Oh,
there.
man.
And so Bryce always gives him lots of crap about
Yeah.
the time zones whenever they
Yeah.
talk about any other country that's
Have you met like, so Amari was the first ever person I met. So the one Pistons game I've been to, it was, do you recall, it was Cade's rookie season just before the All-Star break. They were in Boston and they beat the Celtics to snap their like 10-game losing streak,
yeah.
winning streak. That was the one get Pistons game I've been to.
Wow.
And it was all
You
Jeremy
got
Grant.
lucky, man.
I know Cade had like 25 and 5. I think Jeremy
Yeah,
Grant hit the game winner. Isaiah, like Stu played well. Um, they just got Marvin Bagley. I think it was his first or second game.
yeah,
And like that, I met Amari there. We had a drink, like got a beer before. But because I was in New York with my girlfriend, she was doing some stuff for work. And then I was like, before we went, because we booked it so in advance, I like got awesome seats at TD Garden. I like spent so much money, but I was like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
I
know when
can't
I'm going to see the
imagine.
Pistons again. But that was beating Boston in Boston because like TD Garden's like probably my favorite arena. Like I think Boston fans, I know they're annoying, but like the atmosphere there is awesome.
Yeah.
And beating the Boston fans, like they were so angry. It was so good. It was
Yeah,
so
I
good.
wanted to I didn't go to the Boston Garden. I got to go to Fenway Park, the
Yeah.
baseball diamond in Boston. It's really, really cool place, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't
I,
been to too many other arenas. I don't know if I've been to any other.
so you've been to the snow will make me like the bet's lateral quickness. That's a good one. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I've been to Madison Square Garden a couple
Yeah,
of times. I've been to the Staples Center or whatever it's called now,
yeah,
and I went to Brooklyn's arena. That's actually a nice arena. There's just not that
yeah,
many.
well, that's new, brand new, right?
Yeah, yeah. Um, so
Yeah, so why did you go there and haven't been to Detroit yet?
because
Because it's easier to fly into New York because you did it for there were other
yeah,
things
so
going on?
yeah, and
Yeah,
I don't think I don't. Why didn't I go to Detroit? I I I don't think the Pistons were playing in Detroit. This
yeah,
the mo I've been to New York twice, and the first time, it just the group of friends I was with, it just wouldn't have worked, but
yeah,
the second time was with my girlfriend, well, oh, no, it's because I knew I was going to see them in Boston, and I just it just would have added too much time onto the trip, and
does she like basketball?
yeah, she loves yeah,
Oh,
she loves basketball in
oh,
general, but I've made her a Pistons fan. So, like,
yeah,
she's the only like, not to get too into it, but the only reason I do this, I used to be at, like, a construction worker.
yeah,
Like, so and then I met her, and she was like, "You are obsessed with basketball." I'm like,
yeah,
"I know." And she's like, "You need to make your life do
yeah,
something with it." So I long story short, I pretty much have always been a Pistons fan, but then I just started doing Pistons writing and started posting
yeah,
stuff on Twitter. And then I got a job with the NBL last year, the league down here
yeah.
in the social media team. And
Good for
then,
you.
yeah, so she's the only reason I'm here. She's a Pistons fan, but she
Yeah,
pushed me to like kind of do this. So,
yeah,
um, not to
yeah, that's
get into it too
awesome.
much, but yeah, she loves basketball. So I'm very
Yeah,
lucky.
that's hard to find somebody like
Yeah.
that that would and be a
Yeah.
Piston fan. I mean,
Yeah.
the worst team in the league.
Yeah, I know. No, she's literally yeah, she loves like she was watching the game with me before she went out to go do something, and she was like screaming and cheering. She's like, "The Pistons are gonna win, they're gonna win." Like, so she'll like when I put the game on to watch the replay tonight, like she'll sit up with me and watch
That
some of it.
that sounds like somebody that you need to marry.
Oh, I am marrying her. I am. No, we're not married, but we live.
Yeah,
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 I'll be marrying her. Don't you worry.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
very
yeah,
lucky.
yeah. That would be,
So yeah,
yeah. So
like
there's not,
she won't like. She sometimes like because I'm constantly just doing piss and stuff. Sometimes she's like, "Come on, you don't need like you need to do something else,"
yeah.
because I'm just
Yeah, it's
obsessed. But
hard. It's
yeah,
hard, but you're doing a great job. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it really good. You're gonna, and there's still, it's just like I said with certain players, and organizations, you do need some luck, and you need to, make
yeah,
the right connection to get the right in the right place. And
yeah,
you look at, again, like Bryce. Well, hey, by the way, my dad had a construction company, and so I did construction to pay my way through college. Me and my
yeah,
brothers did, and so I
yeah,
still built some of my houses and stuff. But I was a teacher and coach for 40 years. But
yeah.
I,
Wow.
yeah, construction's not it. Construction was fine, but it was either like when it's 80 degrees or 90 degrees in the summer, or when it's freezing cold in the winter. Construction and you're outside,
Yeah,
it's not any fun. But
I mean,
yeah.
I used to not mind it because of the fresh air and everything, like,
Yes.
but yeah, I can't believe I was actually doing that and not doing basketball stuff.
Yeah,
It's
but
crazy.
not a lot of people can't do what they dream of, and a lot of people. I mean,
Yeah,
I wanted to be a college basketball coach, and I wanted to. Well, the truth is, I went to when I first went to college. I considered, and I wrote for the college newspaper for sports. I wanted to be a sports writer, but I hadn't. I didn't take typing in high school, and so I didn't know how to type good enough
wow,
to make that a career. And so I ended up being a teacher. But I loved. I got to be a teacher and a coach, and I would have liked to have been a college coach, but I had a family and a house and young kids, and so it
cool.
wasn't easy. So that's why you got to take advantage of
That yeah.
where you're at to make your moves right now. And
Well, that's yeah. No, that's, like, half of my motivation for this is, like, I don't have those commitments yet,
yeah,
so it was, like, either do this now and put everything into it or
yes,
regret it.
but yeah, be aggressive, be assertive about finding people to, like, if I were younger, I try to contact somebody to get credentialed for Little Caesars, but nobody got back with me, and so it's not a big deal that I get credentialed or anything. I can just go down to games, but yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean, like, that's it, but see, like, we're having a live chat here and people actually listening.
yeah. So
So, no,
I
no,
can let you go.
I went to summer league, last year,
Yeah, so that's
um,
a good place.
but I realized the media, I don't think I'm into being like the media path. I don't think that's for me. I'm more
Oh,
content. I like the fan engagement element. Like I love being a fan. Like that's what I figured out working at the NBL. I absolutely loved it. People there are amazing. Like it was
yeah,
hard decision because it's like I'm working for the biggest basketball league in Australia. Like I don't. That's I was so lucky to be there and loved it. But I realized like my passion is like the Pistons, but just the fans. Like that's what I love the most.
yeah.
That's why I'm doing this. Yeah.
I love doing. I started the podcast, and again, it's really hard when you're obviously what happened tonight. I'm so stupid with technology,
Yeah.
and so it's not a good thing for me to worry about. But I just loved talking about the Pistons. What I didn't know is how much I was going to enjoy the interaction with the fans. But what you're doing now with this is even way cooler. Again, that it was a great idea that you had. I started out. I was like the only podcaster really that was doing coming on after every game
Yeah.
and talking about every game. Now everybody's doing it. And
Yeah.
so I mean, I'm sure that probably impacts some of my listening. Like I said,
Yeah.
I was not on the air for like 2 months. And so that my number of listeners, but I still think I think a lot of the different podcasters have fewer people, but you just need to connect. You have the right personality. And if you get
Thank you.
engaged with the right person, you
Yeah.
would, I think, do really well. So
I appreciate that, Dave, and
yeah.
that's why I've loved having you on because I saw your channel last year popping off, and I was like, "Oh, who's this guy?" And then I just
Yeah.
started yeah, I started
Just an
watching.
old guy that loves the Pistons. It just
But
got it just because he wanted to talk Pistons, and like I
yeah.
said, there was nobody to talk to, and so I just get
It's
to talk
crazy
to
because I
people
would
I had.
think Yeah,
all
it's
these
funny.
ideas,
Yeah.
all
But the
these.
thing with content, man, is as well, like, you just gotta be consistent and it'll come.
Yeah,
The views and stuff will come back. Don't
yeah,
worry.
yeah,
That you just be consistent and it comes. But, like, yeah, no, that's why it's been a pleasure having you on. I love that you're always down to come on after every game because 'cause
yeah.
I'll be
Well,
sending you that
it would be
link.
way easier. Like I said, my big regret is I would love to come on right after, but I just feel like I owe it to my
No, you do.
listeners to come on and do the podcast. I used to have people that said, I can't go to bed until, my computer is really slow. So it takes,
Yeah,
I have a long process behind, I can record a 25-minute podcast and it takes me 2 hours by the time the game ends. And then I try to write my thoughts down and then I put it on and then I upload it. And time it gets on there, it's late. And people say, oh, I can't go to bed until after I've heard your podcast. And sometimes it's like,
that's
especially if they're out west, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning and
yeah.
I'm finishing up a podcast. And so,
No, I think you do your thing, my friend. I think it's awesome having you on. Get a couple of people on before you, and then you come and we close the show together. So you're welcome whenever. There's a question here from Jake, and this is for you, Dave, because I didn't watch much Tayshaun. Who's a better defender from the eye test, Asar Thompson or Tayshaun Prince?
it's not close.
Uh oh,
It's a SAR. And I
I'll keep that up.
I like Tayshaun, and when Tayshaun wasn't getting to play all year, Larry Brown would not play him, and then all of a sudden, at the end of the year, and he was like this Kobe stopper, and they started playing him. He didn't play most of the regular season, then he maybe played a little bit at the end, and then he came on. Tayshaun was really good. He had good length. He tried pretty hard, but my Tayshaun to me was a little bit of a disappointment because he never just busted it. He just never had the grit that Asar's this cool, smooth moving guy, but he gets after it. So I just always felt like Tayshaun, he was a huge fan favorite. He had the ugliest shot in the world, but
It was ugly. I remember that.
he never defended. I mean, he should have got more points, and that team was loaded, so it was really nice for him to. Um, yeah, did Drake say Tayshaun locked up Kobe? He did. He did good against a lot of good players. He was like, that's why we need Asar back, is because Asar can take on all the best player on the other team. But anyway, Tayshaun, he didn't play hard all the time. He should have been capable of getting more offensive rebounds. He was capable. He would run the floor and he could really run the floor and dunk, but he didn't do it consistently. He People admired him the way that he never acted nervous or never acted, like he was excited about anything. He was real mild mannered, but I would have liked to seen him, you know, play with a little bit of like Stu in him, where that did you
Oh,
discuss tonight that technical that Stu got was stupid. That
it,
that, that was
I Yeah, I haven't really spoken about it.
yeah, it
I'm
was
wearing my
that's
Stu jersey, so I but
you
it was
can't
stupid.
turn to the ref and throw your hand. And when I watched the play,
Yeah. I just wanna
that
quickly
somebody
say
came over
shout out
his
to
back.
Vulture who said, "I love this duo." I agree. We're a good
You what?
duo, Dave.
You
Vulture
what?
said, he said, "I love this duo," as in you and I.
Oh,
So shout out to Vulture. I just wanted to get
yes,
that in.
Vulture. Thank you.
We appreciate you, bro.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
cut you off because you were talking bad about Stu.
Oh, you did? No, I praised Stu, man. Stu played great tonight. He played
Yeah.
with so much passion and so much energy, and he did a lot of great things tonight. And he battled. I mean, he battled for every rebound, every offensive rebound. He didn't get it. Sometimes he got a hand on it, but he gave it everything he had. And that's my thing about Tayshaun. Tayshaun, when Tayshaun was a little bit of assertive, he was really good, but it just was inconsistent, and he got away with it because they had Ben Wallace and Rip Hamilton and Chauncey Billups and Rashid and all those guys, and so he was able to just slide in there and play that little role and do what he did here and there. But he could defend, and he had tremendous length, and he had even long. He's like 6'7" with really long arms, but if you look at his
rebounding stats, and shooting percentage wasn't good. He could make threes sometimes, but his elbow was so far out, and yeah, there's different
No,
guys like that had funky shots. Some
I
of the
I
Sean
didn't think
Marion.
Sean Marion's got that was the first NBA jump shot I ever saw, and I was like, "What is that?"
Jamal Wilkes, you wouldn't know him, but Jamal Wilkes, smooth as silk. He played at UCLA when they won
Yeah.
9 championships in a row, or whatever it was, and he played for the Lakers when they had really good teams. But he had a ugly shot, but he made it sometimes quite a bit. But.
I remember, is it Bill Cartwright? He's
Oh
one of
yeah,
the
yeah.
that was terrific. And
Isaiah tore into him. Isaiah Thomas, Bill Cartwright was like 7'1", and Isaiah's like 6'1", and Isaiah tore right into him once because
oh
Isaiah
no,
pushed
I've
him.
seen that. I've seen that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Cartwright had an
Um,
ugly shot. But Cartwright was a good player. Cartwright served his role. I mean, Cartwright obviously in the NBA today wouldn't be anything, but he was a valuable part of their team, and they had like 2 centers that were pretty good. I don't know if they had Borwinkle or who their other center was, but they had.
who was I had a question. There's another jump shot, and I only saw this one on video games. But is it Kevin Duckworth or something? He used to shoot like one
Yeah,
hand.
yeah. Oh, and
And
Kevin
thank you,
Duckworth.
Drake. We appreciate you we appreciate you. Another good
Oh,
duo
yeah.
comment for us.
So the Pistons. Thanks, Drake. The Pistons played the Portland Trailblazers. So here's another thing. So the Portland Trailblazers, they were really good for a bunch of years, and they never won one championship. But they played the Pistons, and Duckworth was their center, and Lambier and Mahorn were so much in his head he could not even play. He was destroyed mentally, and he was a really good NBA center, and they just got so much in his head that he couldn't make a shot. He couldn't do anything. But he played on that team with Clyde Drexler, and they had a bunch of really good players. But
Who was the player in that series? I think who famously, I think Portland won game 1, ran to the locker room saying something.
I don't remember.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
No,
Anyway, I'm thinking of. Yeah, don't worry. I'm losing it. We've been going for nearly 3 hours.
Yeah, I can let you go. But that series was Vinnie Johnson made a shot 007, 700ths of a second left on the clock when he hit the game winner, and that was
Love it.
legendary.
Well, Dave, I'm probably going to wrap it up here, my friend.
Yes.
Oh, we've got one more question, and then we're going to wrap it up.
All right.
Okay, from Beastly Arrows just got in here. Can you ask Dave if he's ever been to Adrian, Michigan before? I feel like I may have met him in 2018.
I have been to Adrian, Michigan. So I was, again, if it was probably related to high school basketball, but we would have team camps. I'm sure I was at a team camp before at Adrian, Michigan, but they have a college there, Adrian College in Adrian, Michigan. It's a D3 school, but yeah, that's still 3 or 4 hours south of me where I live. So if I've been anywhere, it's just been because of basketball, and I've been all over the place at every different camp that they had in the summer and stuff. I've been very blessed. God has blessed me. I've had a lot of things go wrong in my life that haven't been the best, but I've had a lot of real amazing blessings. And I got to go with my daughter to in 2004. She went to a lot of the games with me. I took my daughter to when she was like 4 years old, or 5 years old, we were at the Silver Dome, and they were playing, and she's like 5 years old, and they're playing Dominique Wilkins and the Hawks, and she goes to that game, and then the next night I had tickets to the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan, and gave her the choice of, do you want to go back to the game, or do you want to go stay at the hotel with your mom and your brother and go swimming in the pool? And she wanted to go to the game, and she watched every possession and stuff. And then in '88, when they opened the Palace, she went to the first game with me to the Palace. She was 8 years old, and she'd stay up and watch the men's Final Four. And now she's she was Michigan High School Coach of the Year a few years back, and she's going to the game with me Sunday, her and her daughter. So
amazing.
Anyway, I'm going to let you go. I'm sorry I ramble. I love basketball.
Love it, Dave.
That's the only reason I started a podcast, but this has been a blessing for me to have you get me
course.
on and
Well,
want to
as I
talk to me. And yeah,
absolutely, as I mentioned, Dave, you are welcome every single show.
yeah,
I'll just be sending the link to you. We'll figure out your
yeah,
camera. Now
yeah.
we've got it on your computer, so
But
we are
I'm never gonna feel um offended in the least if you want me on for 2 minutes and want me
No,
off instead of,
cool.
because I, like I said, and always, so I love to answer questions. So um but sometimes I just ramble, I just talk, and I get
No, well
going, I get excited, and so yeah, it's fun. So
well, I'm
all
sure
right.
you'll be back. I'm sure you'll be back after the Charlotte game where hopefully we're talking about a win, but
Yeah, so I'll be
enjoy
on
the win.
Charlotte. I'm going to be downstate Friday, so I'm not even going to be on. And I wish I can't even. I should be able to do a podcast from my phone, and I don't know how to do that. And I
Okay.
should be able to have guests on my pod show, but I don't know how to do that, so I don't do it.
Well,
And
maybe we'll get you there one day.
yeah,
I'll
and
try help
Sunday,
you
yeah,
out. We can
I
get it
would love
set
to have
up.
you on my show.
Of course,
And
of
then
course. I'd love to come on.
Sunday, I have guys. John Beeline said he'd be on my show, and he'd be great to listen to. And I just haven't been able to pull it off. And there's a guy, Aaron, that sits courtside at all the Piston games. He works for the Pistons, and he's been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I would love to have him on my podcast. And he said he's willing to. But yeah, anyway, all right. Well, you have
Well,
a
it's
great
been a
night
pleasure.
or great afternoon. Right here, it's almost 1 a.m. in the
Oh my
morning. So
goodness.
yeah,
Oh, well,
but
Dave, I
I'm
appreciate you, my
retired,
friend.
so I don't have to worry about making any money. Yeah, I'm very blessed. But anyway, have a good night, Jack, and thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Thanks, Dave. We'll talk soon.
All right.
See you later.
Yep.
All right, guys. I will let Dave just disconnect, but what a show. What a game. What a win. Thank you for everyone in the comments tonight. I appreciate everyone interacting. Pistons next, Beastly Arrow, Vulture, Drake M, Smiley Face. I don't know your name, C and Ink. Some of you guys have been here for every show. Some of you are new. I appreciate all of you tuning in. Pleasure to have on Dave and then Alan. Like, what a great duo those two are. Two great guests. And as always, if you want to come on this show, like we've just gone for now 2 hours. It's at 2 hours 46 minutes. Like me and Dave then weren't even talking about we're talking about life for a bit. We can talk about whatever, guys. Honestly, like this is obviously about the Pistons, and it'll be a lot of what we talk about. But love you as well, Vulture. Um, we can just talk about anything. So especially once it starts going for ages, yeah, this show is for you guys. So if you want to come on, and you feel confident enough, like please, I understand. Like before I went on my first podcast or anything like this, I was so nervous, and I get why it's hard to sometimes just want to come up here, but I promise you, like it's not scary at all. Like we just talk about whatever you want to talk about, or I'll ask you questions, you ask me questions, talk about life. But yeah, great game. Enjoy the Lakers win. I know I'm going to go back and watch that game at least once, maybe twice. And yeah, I'll have a heap of content out reviewing the game in a shorter form, as well as highlights and everything on Pistons Jack socials. So go check those out. But yeah, appreciate all the love. If you could like, subscribe, any of that, I would really appreciate it. But if not, thank you for tuning in. And as always, go Pistons.